good day. Be bright. I think my white balance is a little off. Maybe it's okay. Oh, that's too blue. I like a little blue like that though. I'm sure this shirt is not helping. It pops a lot. And some contrast. No, too much contrast. Just do it like that. Then we'll go into filters. Oh, you can see that. Oh, nice. I probably don't need as much saturation today. I don't want to look pinkish. It's okay. Or like really red. I think that's good. I don't need this crop thing anymore. Cropping it. Let's go from the side. Let's move this notepad thing right bottom. It's the pre-show. Let's close this. Ooh. Good morning, anyone that's in chat. I've got a lot to cover today. I'm curious at how I'm going to cover everything. We might have a few resumes. I mean, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 resumes. I'm going to start around 8:30. Got 10 minutes of like pre-show time. Then, what do I have on the list? Discussing the following. Oh yeah, so I gotta open up something. You gotta plug the Discord link. I need to add like Nightbot commands. I actually have no idea how to do that. I'm gonna start doing that. I will do a copy and paste. Welcome. Copy message link. Discord. Whoa, that's not right. Let's just copy this. Bam. That text seems really hard to see. Yeah, maybe we just do it like this. I want to see chat. I just had to copy and paste that every now and then or something. We got a really wide variety of resumes too. We got someone that's looking for more executive level. We got someone in esports, which is gonna be pretty cool. We got one that I can't read the language. I asked for this purposely though. We're just gonna see like really what stands out and what are we thinking about it. This like immediately. We have this one which I haven't looked through. Maybe I should look through this one. What was the context of this one? This one is from. No, it's not Dweeb. Wait, did I miss this one? Oh yeah, I did this already. Rizzy, what up, dude? Thanks for the follow. I'm sad I don't get to see you at tailgates every now and then. No one to take all the Papa Shot prizes, you know? Let's see. Yeah, COVID. It's going well. Up really early. I was up an hour before I wanted to be because my dog was begging to go outside because I forgot to take him out last night. So just chilling for the stream to go live because I think 7 o'clock is a bit early. 7 a.m. is a bit early for anyone on the West Coast. So that's a bit tough. Just sitting here catching up on some LCS games that I missed and then went live. Gonna do some resume and esports talk with people that are pretty much trying to get into esports. I don't know if that includes you. I don't know if you're trying to look into esports. I don't think we ever really talked about that when we met. But if it is, stick around. If not, I don't know. Maybe this will be very boring for you. But thanks for the follow. I really appreciate it, man. And also just stopping by to say hi. We can chill. I got about like 7 more minutes ish before I like actually start the show. You know. Okay, cool. Dude, how can you actually listen to something while you're playing Valorant? You need to be like super... Like sound is so important in that game. Let's see. Where is my... Okay, cool. Well, hopefully it'll be entertaining and interesting enough for you. That'd be nice. Dude, I haven't played Valorant since they shut it off before going live. I played a lot. Well, not a lot, but I played a bit while it was going. While it was an open beta or a closed beta. And then I don't know. I just haven't like started it.
Games. For everyone in chat, is one.
Quiet. We're gonna do some let's watch something together, kind of like kindergarten or like elementary school. Got the stream ready. There's this talk. I've talked about Devin Nash and Ethan Evans before, and they did a stream this week. And I know there's people in the community that are like, oh, you know, I know of them, but I'm not, at least of Devin, and they're like, I'm not super like into his personality or way that he talks and those kind of things. But I think this is like, they have such gold, and I just like kind of want to talk through a few subjects that they have, listen to them. It won't be too much if you're not a fan of them, and then like really talk about what share my experiences, especially what they're talking about, in my opinion. I'm excited for that too. It's gonna be a little different. I'm curious at how that's gonna end up going. What else do I have on the docket? Yeah, and then hopefully at the end of the stream, just winding down. I'm curious if we're gonna hop off at 11, so that's a 2.5 hour stream. Might cut it short, but you know, if I'm really feeling it, I might be able to grind through 7 resumes. And then, oh yeah, I gotta look at Jason. He had some contacts, I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna find his. Weird to me. Here we go. Yes, I am in LA. I'm yeah. I'm in LA County. I'm pretty close to I'm like, well, I'm not far from the LCS studio. But obviously with LA traffic, it takes a while to get there. I'm in like South LA, north of Long Beach if you're familiar with the area. Or west of Long Beach. In Torrance. I should get some water too. Can't remember, Rizzy, if you're actually from the Bay Area or LA. I feel like you said that you've taken a drive down to go come down to Tailgate. But I've seen you there multiple times. General manager of Call of Duty teams. Ooh. Coordinator at Hespa, nice. Starleague, nice. You guys got some experience, I love it. Ivan. That's cool. One page, I love it. Riverside. Don't know California geography yet very well. It's not LA. I've definitely heard of Riverside. I know people from Riverside. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Riverside, nice? And dude, if you're playing Valorant right now, you can just ignore it. Like, don't worry about keeping the conversation going. You can always pop in between games when you need to untilt or something to chat. It's okay-ish. Is it Riverside? There's like an R-named city in California that I hear is just very, very white. I want to say Rivendell, but that's definitely from Lord of the Rings, and that is definitely white if you think about all elves being white. at least in the movie representation. Good morning. Wow, Bill, I missed your oh, I guess it only came in a minute ago. I don't mind the all caps. It's okay. Redondo Beach? Redondo Beach is all white? I don't think it's that. I think it's Riverside. It's like Riverside, Riverdale, something like that. At least maybe, I mean, that's what I've also heard from Californians. So maybe California's idea of what a very white populated city is very different from growing up in Ohio, Minnesota, Wisconsin. So my level of like a white city might be a bit different from anyone that's from California. I am still working with Golden State Warriors, so still working with Golden Guardians, doing all that stuff. My 1 year anniversary full time in esports was April. All right, it's 8:30. get the show on the road. Got a lot to do. Bill is in chat, so I will have to be looking at his resume first. It's gonna be a tough one to go through for me. I'm like super excited about it though. Let's shrink my webcam a little bit for this. Maybe it was okay. Should just left it. Is more of my face a bad thing, really? I think it's gonna be okay. Maybe it is a bad thing, I'm not really sure. Alright, let's shrink chat a little bit. Get rid of this pre-show. Bam. I don't think we need this notepad anymore. And if I want to, do I want to do this? Do I want to reformat this a little bit so I'm not overlapping anything? No, I think we keep full screen. I think it'll look nicer. I do have the Stream Beat playlist from Harris Heller. You are absolutely right. Bam. But I will be turning it off now. Now that we're about to get serious. Alright. And Bill, I don't know if you're aware, but I got some resources for you. Some people. Sorry, more like content people that I think is going to be able to give you better advice from digesting your content than I will with your resume. That being said, I've listened to their content. I'm going to regurgitate some other things, give my opinion on things, and definitely you can take it or leave it. All right, shall we get going? Hello, everyone. Welcome to another resume review. We got an interesting one here from more of a C-level, executive level application. I'm going to do my best in tackling this one. There's a lot to go here. I might be way in over my head, but I still think I'll be able to get some good value to Bill on this resume. So let's get started. And I think this will be interesting for those that are seeing different types of advice that you've heard and you think might apply to your entry level position, or if you're a mid-level, like I think you'll be able to get stuff and value out of this video or this resume. We'll see how it goes. All right. And we got Bill in the chat, which is super cool. We're going to go, because he's in the chat, it'll be really helpful to go back and forth with things because we've seen that before. So first of all, what I always like to do is my first impressions of this resume. My biggest gripe, 2-page resumes. But wait, right? Okay, seriously, when it comes to executive level or anything that's really outside of entry level and maybe mid-level, 2 pages is okay. That being said, and I will say, I'm curious at how much stuff you need to put into a resume, even as an executive, because I think at that point, your career or your focus is supposed to be very narrow and very results based. So I feel like there's probably supposed to be more white space here, because I also don't think you need to just stuff in every single piece of job history you have. We'll see if that's the case here. First impressions. I think it's a little weird that this is highlighted. I'm not sure if that was a formatting thing or that's intentional, because I'm going to be looking at this first thing anyway. Got a summary, which I'm always a fan of, especially with executive level. You need to get straight to the point. So you have a professional summary here, areas of expertise, which is like a lot. So that's going to be interesting. Career highlights, which is kind of cool too. Although I'm wondering if career highlights are supposed to be in professional summary. So we'll see like what the difference is there. We got professional experience. Cool. We got a lot of experience there, which should be expected. Then we're going to go to writing contributions. That's pretty cool. So we're going to see some work, some examples of work. I think relevant experience is always weird when you're combining, like everything on your resume should be relevant experience catered towards a job you're applying for. So that's a little odd. Education, MBA. Okay, cool. Like that's executive level. Certifications, that's always good too. Okay, so right off the bat, my first impressions are there is a lot of content to go through. I'm expecting the hiring people to be going through less resumes anyway, so they'll have more time to look at each resume. I wish there was more white space on this, but it seems to be very organized, and let's get into it. It's not bad. It doesn't scare me off, right? Uh I will say, and I'm curious at what this is going to look like, because when we're talking about executive level positions too, uh that means older people are probably going to be hiring for this, and this is a very, I mean, just font choice. This is Times New Roman, I'm guessing, or Arial or something. So I'm wondering if there's more modern font that you could be using for a resume to make it stand out a little better, to be more clean and, again, like I said, modern and kind of like current. Really nitpicky, probably doesn't matter anyway, but something to think about. All right, so total accident, that's fine. I'm not a hiring manager. You're not trying to get me to hire you with this resume, so I will let these things slide because we're just getting it to me, and we're censoring out information, so weird things happen. Not a big deal. Okay, so let's dive into this. Professional summary. You better catch my attention with this. Communication officer and content director. Okay, good. I know exactly what you are. With more than 15 years of developing and executing company vision through strategic marketing and communication, expertise in building the gap between product, service, and customer, and raising brand awareness through unique storytelling on multiple platforms, cross-functional communication, comfortable engaging at all corporate levels, stakeholder executive leadership, and skilled in relaying complex information on technical and non-technical level, ability to influence and mentor, empower, and retain high-performing global teams, known for relationship building, decision-making, and problem-solving capabilities in a fast-paced environment. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in on this. That's a lot. And it's almost like I'm going to fill this thing with as many buzzwords as possible until something clicks. I'm a fan of talking about impact and results. What I'm seeing is here, like you're saying, like, I am capable because I have all these skills. But all these skills could be, you could just lie through this, right? And it might come off like there's just tons of buzzwords here. That's what I'm mostly worried about. And there's so many different things that it's kind of hard after I read it to focus on, like, what did I just read? I know you're a communications officer and content director, but you're talking about like every single step of the way and all the things that you're able to do. What I would rather see is something like, I like the first sentence, with more than 15 years of developing and executing company vision through strategic marketing communication. Cool. So tell me about what you've accomplished in those 15 years. But instead you're talking about like, oh, I'm able to do this, I'm able to do that, I'm able to do this, I do that. Yeah, and that's the thing. I've come from a professional background where, like, your resume gets filtered through like machine scanning where they're looking for those things. So I think that I get why that makes sense. To me, this is like a resume, and that, again, like when we're talking about the old school way, this kind of works, and this is what you're supposed to do, which is gonna lead into like my main conclusion, which I'll give you a little hint is here, where most likely you're supposed to be focused on a LinkedIn rather than your resume. And I think executive level, like this kind of the level that you're working at, is more through networking and who you know and word of mouth than applying just straight through a resume. But I still want to go through this resume. So yeah, I think that the keywords, like if you're going to stuff keywords, they could be elsewhere maybe, especially if it's going through like AI or a computer just scanning through the resumes. So yeah, what I really want to see is impact, like what you did, which might be in your career highlights, right? Let's jump down to your career highlights real quick. Actually coordinated and trained talent and staff for online, offline events and ensure fairness. So it's really cool that you staff people in multiple countries. You increase total online traffic by 20%. That's really nice that you have like a number there and how you did it. Monitored live events with participants and reported. Okay. social media and content creation strategies. Okay, so you secured contracts. Probably can't put that many numbers on that one. Reviewed and negotiated contracts. Yeah, so I think these are good, and like I would like to see that somehow incorporated in here, because again, if a person is actually looking at the resume, right? They're gonna have a first impression, and especially with the summary, you have to make that good impression. So when I first think about this, like I'm like, oh, this is just slammed stacking of keywords. It doesn't tell me anything. It doesn't necessarily nothing pops off. I'm like, okay, he's done this, he's done that, he's done that, he's done that, he has that. Okay, like those were all things that we asked for in the application or the job posting. So I don't know, it's lackluster unless I'm like really like wowed by like, I don't know, I feel like that kind of stuff won't wow someone because they'll see through just the keyword stacking. Yeah, and then again, like first impression, seeing the Amazon VP Ethan Evans go through resume stuff, like if he's not convinced here, he doesn't look at the rest. If he's not convinced in the top half or the first parts, if he has a reason to throw away your resume, he throws away the resume. And again, Bill, like please take these tips with a word of caution, because I believe you should know more than me about this, and you have a different understanding because I haven't looked at executive like this high level resumes. So it's really interesting to look through yours and to like give my inputs as someone that has what 10 years, 11 years of like job, like professional career, versus you who is a bit older, still looking very, very young. All right, so this also, like, again, thinking about this, the top half, the top part of the resume being the most important stuff, and the bottom the least important stuff, because most likely people won't get to this. I don't know why you'd use 2 lines to talk about Microsoft Office, G Suite, Cloud Apps, HTML, CSS, WordPress administration, EMR, and CMR databases. I think when I think about it, everyone should have like a lot of these experiences, and like I'm not gonna be like, wow, Bill has Cloud App experience, I definitely want to hire him, right? I think these are things that maybe these are impressive on an entry level position, but even then I wouldn't put those up at the top. Because it's like, oh, I don't have to teach this person G Suite because we run on G Suite. That's kind of nice. Like I think that's like where that's supposed to stand out. So I would put that also like way at the bottom, or maybe not even include some of these things. I'm guessing EMR and CMR databases, I don't know what those are, might be useful. But everything else, nothing really stands out to me as like worth being on a resume. And I might almost I lost my train of thought. I would almost expect people to have these kind of some of those experiences already. Although, fun side story. When I was an engineer, we hired a very, very old, much older than 48, Bill. Very old person that was working in fabrication like lines, metalworking facilities. And he was coming into a corporate job and helping us do some spec reviews and being like an expert on this. And this was when I was working in the oil industry. And he came in and he started, and he was going to work remotely from Texas. And this was when I was in Chicago. And he came in for 2 weeks just to like understand how our processes work. And my boss went on vacation after like the first day. And I was there supposed to like get him up to speed. And he's like, hey, we have this meeting. I walked through like, hey, this is how you get through a Word document template. These are the things that you have to do and the changes you have to make. And then this is how we make our like 100-page requisition packets. And then after like 2 days, I don't hear from him because he's supposed to get something together. I'm like, hey, what's going on? He's like, oh yeah, could you help me with this? Like, walk me through it. I'm a little confused. I'm like, yeah, sure. I walk down to his computer. I'm like, okay, let's see, blah, blah, blah. Okay, like, to open up a new window. He's like, how do I do that? I'm like, oh, you can press, the Windows key E, or you can just like click on File Explorer, and he's like, okay. And then I'm like, okay, let's go to another window. And then he clicks the window like this, and then he drags it to the corner. I'm like, that's suspicious. Eventually, I realized he's never used a computer and he doesn't know how to use like Microsoft Word. He doesn't know how to use like Microsoft Office at all. And I'm just like, oh no, what have we done? We're gonna be like 90% of your job is working with documentation and PDFs and Words and like putting together these huge document packets. So that was really painful. So my boss was like, oh my gosh, I actually have to ask. And we had to let him go because of that. That was like really unfortunate. Like, who would have thought that I needed to ask if you have computer experience? But yeah, 48's not that old, dude. I feel at my prime, and I'm 31. I'm 31. All right. Okay, let's get to it. Areas of expertise. I think again, these are just like, this is so much, and like, depending on what your role is and executive level, like I feel like I would assume that you know a lot of these things because maybe there's a greater bullet point that covers a lot of this. Maybe it's just like marketing and strategy, right? And that might get rid of like, I think some of these would fit under marketing and strategy, right? And then you have like multiple things under one bullet point, which I kind of get. But again, like these are my areas of expertise versus someone that's like, I'm good at market. Like, this is just like too much. This is like, I hope that one of these things stick. It's a shotgun approach. I'm shooting big spray and hoping one of those things hit the target. That's what I feel like this is too. Okay, we went through career highlights, and I like that there's impact in there. But again, I'm having trouble like focusing on like what your expertise is actually. Because we say communication and content. Yeah, I guess this is focused on content. Maybe that's okay. Yeah. I think your career highlights is okay, actually. Let's go. Professional experience. Okay, so one thing that worries me about this is that it goes from 2015 to 2000 or to the present. So that's 5 years of experience. So that kind of worries me. But again, I don't want you to put a whole like listing of all your work experiences. I want only the relevant stuff. But it really worries me that everything is like a year, and actually probably less than a year when I look at the months closely. So I'm confused at what's going on there. I know Payday turned into Esports Labs, and I think you have. Yeah, so I'm a little worried and confused. Okay, let's jump into the professional experience. Strategy consultant, founder. Okay, so you created your own thing. So whenever I see founder, I go, is this real or not? Like, I can be a founder of my own company as a freelancer. Or when I freelanced before I got esports work, I own my own company, I could say. Oh, but I made like, zero net profit. So what I'm expecting here is you to convince me that this is a legit business, right? Content and social media management business focused on storytelling, written word, video, and graphics and social media reach. Okay, so I know what this is now. Curated content, produced content, brought it all together, tell the story of why people should invest in the company product. Okay, so this confuses me because this doesn't do that for me. This doesn't convince me that this, like, you created something that is, I don't want to say legit because that feels really bad and mean. But if I'm an executive at a company, I'm like, oh, he started a company. What kind of company? This doesn't seem like a profitable or huge successful company yet. Because I don't see any creations. Like if it said brought in $600,000 of revenue in 2019, or raised venture capital of 1 million. Like I'm just throwing out random numbers. I don't really know what the scale of this kind of stuff is. Even like consulted over like 10 people with big clients like FaZe Esports, something like that. Like I don't see anything like that that gives us clout. I guess that's maybe the best word I can think of right now. It's not the best word. Like I could see. Okay, cool. References are good. Like I always love seeing portfolios and references and links, right? But you also have to remember, like, am I going to spend the time, like, I need to be convinced and curious to click on the link. If I don't see a name or if I don't see results, I'm just going to be like, whatever. I'm not going to click on it, especially if I don't have time, right? So it needs to be, I need to be convinced to click on the website link. I think that's the big struggle here. I'm going to hide this taskbar. Give us some more room. Go away. It's not going away. I did it wrong. There we go. There we go. Got some more room, more real estate. Chief Relationship Officer at Esports Labs. Drove rep, and I might even put this together, and I don't know if you need to say remote. That doesn't add anything to it for me, I think. But yeah, Esports Lab, formerly Payday.gg, Payday GG LLC. And then you can combine those two if it makes sense. Drove revenue building strategies, mutually profitable relationship for consumers and brands utilizing esports. Crafted content, both written and video, to tell stories. Yeah, again, I'm not seeing like numbers and reasons because like I felt like you did such a good job at that with the career highlights, but then when it comes down to here, when I'm like looking into your experience, it doesn't come out to me. Like I could see this being like on the job posting for a job. It'd be like, oh, learn how to be able to drive revenue building strategies. Learn how collaborate and communicate with customers and brand through esports. Like so then it's just like reworded because this is just saying something that I'm not convinced or it doesn't stand out to me to like really believe. Right? There's no impact there. So if you were able to say like how much revenue, how many brands, that's something. I don't know how you quantify or talk about the impact of relationships, but even just like managing and communicating with over 50 clients, like something like that, that might work. Crafted content, both written and video, to tell stories and gain connections that solve problems. Again, that doesn't tell me, because I could say that about my YouTube channel. Like my YouTube channel currently that has 113 or 30 subscribers. So it's like I'm not creating like crazy impact, and I'm creating content, both written and video, I could say. And I live stream and tell the stories to, solve people problems. But like that to me as a hiring person, I don't know I don't see an impact in that. Chief Relationship Officer, Branding Authority, oversaw tournament launch planning, partner integration, messaging and branding, and other strategic tasks designed to build Payday as the best online tournament platform. Okay, that's cool because I see what you're doing and the efforts you're putting into it. But what happened from that? Because you say the best online tournament platform. Like, why is it the best? Is it the best? That sounds buzzwordy and salesy to me, and it makes me not believe it. Like, make me believe it. Tell me something, why it's the best and what happened. Coordinated communication among teams, management, sponsors, vendors, players, and fans. Maybe the impact on here is like, if this was coordinated successfully, what does that mean? That means, what does that mean? that means we got money. That means the event did not have any delays. That means 90% of teams showed up on times and games started on time. That means yeah, those kind of things. That should be in here. Yeah, we're just not getting impact on here. I'll continue. Establish payday as a... Also, when it comes to formatting, this is nitpicky, but I think it's important. Like, this breaks. If there's a way to keep this all together so it doesn't break the flow, I think that would be really, really important. I also like that you put pages on there in case things get lost. Establish Payday as a comprehensive esports tournament streaming platform. Again, prove it. Communication roadmap. Yeah, so I guess what I'm seeing here is like the strategy behind what you did, but I don't see the results of the strategy, right? And I honestly don't think I need to go through all this stuff. I feel like it's going to be very similar things. So I really want to focus. Okay, so actually, let's continue the resume though. Let's continue the resume. Writing contributions. So Vegas Tech, February to the present, reporting and writing on the Vegas startup scene, contracted support for some. So this is interesting. So why does this, and this is something that might be a shortcoming of me, like why does this matter to the hiring manager, right? And then when I go to it, I just see a website. Instead, link to your best interview. Link to an article you did. Link to the client work that you did. Like this doesn't. Now I have to look. I'm just, oh, like he has something and oh, okay. I don't have the time to find it. I don't have the time to search Bill Wagner. And I can't find it. 11 results? Why is there only one result? Oh no, this is the only search result and it's not your name. So I don't see anything. So show me your writing contributions. Tech.co, formerly, and then why isn't this a link when this is a link, this is a link, and this is a link, and this is not a link either? Oh, is it? Did it just click? Oh, it is a link. But then the coloring and formatting is off. Formerly Tech Cocktail. So you've done writing about relevant tech startup topics. Like, why does that? It doesn't help me. If I want you to be a writer for me, that works. And again, I don't know what you're applying for. If we're talking about you're looking for a communication, like a director, maybe I just need to you just need to show me that you've done all this stuff. Maybe that does work. Yeah, this is the thing, Bill. I think that's a really good point. Some people say no direct links. Some people say post them, right? Are people looking at your paper resume and printing them out? Right? I've been told like don't put colors, don't put fancy things, make sure the font is very clear, use a font that everyone recognizes that's like basic standard, New Times Roman, because this is going to go through a scanner and it's going to look through your resume and look for keywords and all those kind of things, right? Amazon does that. So depending on who you're applying for, I think that's a really good point because everyone's different. I'm looking at this resume as a PDF. Because that's how companies that I most likely would apply for are going to digest that content. With Golden Guardians, they did not even see a resume of mine, right? That's the big difference. And I remember when I applied for CLG, which goes through Madison Square Garden, I'm like, oh, how are they going to take my resume? Because I uploaded it online. That's a big company, Madison Square Garden. Like, are they going to put my thing through this process? And should I remove, like, my photo and the coloring and change the font to something really basic? So depending on who you think you're hiring, how they're going to receive your resume, if this is paper, links don't matter, right? And if it's like a long resume, like long link, like that's going to take up a lot of space. I would use like a link shortening thing. And maybe it's a portfolio, like you click on it and then it goes to a website or another document with all the links to your stuff. Or maybe that's maybe that's another page. Maybe it's a full page just dedicated to your works and your references. So you should know by doing research for the companies that you're specifically applying for, because your resume should change per company, how you think they're going to do that. And the cool thing about social media now with LinkedIn, you can potentially contact those people directly that are gonna process your resume. Author profile link. So that's better because now I can see all the things that you've actually wrote about. That's cool. That's the most helpful thing so far, I think. Strategic content marketing, publication, and then I clicked on this, I remember, and again, I don't know where you are on here, and I couldn't find Bill Wagner. So I actually don't know, like, are you Constantino? I don't really know. I'm really confused. This is an article to me. I don't know how you're a part of this. Because you say you wrote. It's not like you're managing these writers. So I'm just confused. Floor supervisor dealer, Washington Gold Casino. Okay, so you did customer service stuff. I don't know how this is relevant experience, especially if we're talking about esports, and why this is separated from everything else. Education, okay, you got an MBA. That's important. That's really important. Web development. Okay, so these are just certifications. That's cool. GitHub link. I'm not familiar with GitHub. 61 contribution. Okay, so that's cool. It's showing me that you've contributed somehow. Oh, Rizzy, you're in overtime. Get out of chat, man. Concentrate. Okay, so Bill, hopefully this was helpful. I think the big highlights are, this feels very old school to me, which isn't necessarily bad if you're applying to people that are going to look at it old school, right? It feels very, I made this resume for the algorithm that checks out my resume, right? What I will say, I want to give you as much value as possible. Check out Ethan Evans. What he talks about mostly, and again, he's the VP at Twitch that has done a lot of the Twitch Prime, or a VP at Amazon that focuses on the Twitch Prime stuff. Sure, you can send me a link to your LinkedIn if you want me to review it on here. I don't know if, because you can't censor stuff, I mean, it's public, so it should be fine. But this guy goes through LinkedIn profiles and he talks about it because he thinks you don't get a job anymore. You don't get a job anymore by a resume. You get a job through networking. And I mostly agree with that. But especially at your level, I think that's true, especially the way that he talks and the way that I've been digesting his content. Maybe this stuff, I think this is maybe something where he's talking about his LinkedIn and how to network on LinkedIn and how to cater your LinkedIn towards you. And especially as someone like you who makes content, LinkedIn's really good for posting content. So I hope you're doing that. Yeah, go ahead, post a link. I think it'll work. I don't really know how to work this whole Twitch thing, so maybe links are blocked or something, but you can send it to me. Yeah, there we go. Welcome, Pancake. Welcome back. You do have a black version. I don't know where my black version is. It's probably just like right under the gold version when I pulled it out of my closet, but I didn't look. Everyone's a genius in their basement. Interesting. Marketing, communicate, executive leadership. So okay, there's keyword. And I want to say that I'm not really familiar with how to craft LinkedIn profiles. So Ethan Evans is going to be your go-to. I really think this guy is going to be your go-to by just watching his stream. There's just a lot of gold with Devin Nash and Ethan Evans. If you haven't seen this before, and I've talked about this on every stream so far, He has these 2 videos where they go through resume rows, and he talks a lot about. So, Ethan Evans, check out that video. I haven't actually watched it, but I'm sure it's gonna be good. 4 hours. It's gonna be rough, but you can do it. I believe in you. I believe that you're gonna get something really, really legit from it. It's somewhere near here. Where is it? Resume roast. Where are you? Here we go. Watch this video. Watch this video. Those 2. Those are going to be huge because you're going to get a lot of insight from a VP that's mostly talking about more old school applications. He talks about how Amazon, like, they don't read cover letters, they don't do any of that. You have high level exec, you have AI machine learning going through resumes and getting those on the desk because they're super, super busy and they don't have time. And he's going to be talking more in your realm. I would also say that he has, he creates a resume. So you can see an example of, oh boy, where is it? You can see an example of Ethan Evans' resume. Oh, please. Where are you? And you're going to get in the mind of what he's looking for in a resume. Which I think that's really what you want to cater towards. Here we go. I want to show like page 1. It's very clean. So his summary is proven executive leadership of multiple 500 plus million businesses across games, videos, apps, and music. Global leadership experience of teams of 800 plus. Technical inventor, 60 plus issued patents. So right there, excuse me. Wow, I did that in the mic. I'm so sorry. Oh, my throat's getting clogged from talking so much. Watching this and seeing what his 2-page resume looks like when you have years of experience, I think it's going to be huge for you and what you're looking for, because you guys are probably applying for in the same realm of career. Yeah, I'm going to just quickly look over your LinkedIn because I think I spent a little too much time on your resume, your stuff. Yeah, it's good that you're posting your videos and interviews. I would also say maybe it's more important for you. Actually, I don't know, because what I'm about to say, I was going to say that maybe you want to be really selective of what content you post on your LinkedIn. But maybe it's okay. I'm not really sure. Okay. I'm jumping everywhere. I'm really confused. Let's get back on focus. Buzzwords. Actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to compare your LinkedIn to Ethan Evans. And we're going to see like what is going to be useful here. And Ethan Evans has 2 LinkedIn pages? I wonder why. Or did I missee that? Move me down here for now. So he has his own brand thing where he probably posts content 3 years ago or 3 months ago, whatever. Prime benefits for gamers, career development for the world. So yours is stacked with keywords, which might make you more searchable. Not really sure. Successful talent. Okay, let's look at the about. So his about is shorter. Yours looks like a resume. So maybe I would copy this. Technology executive and general manager. I've led. Okay, so this is kind of like his executive summary. Games, apps, video games, music, including starting both Amazon Video, now Prime Video, and Twitch Prime. Hands-on leader, 60 patents. Passionate about mentoring, leading me start to scale coaching impact. Expertise, building a ship. Teams that ships. Hiring methodology. So he's putting some keyword. He is putting keywords in here. So I think you're doing that right too. Storyteller who bridged gaps in understanding with empathy and joy. That's cool. I wonder how I personally really like that. I wonder how impactful that's going to be for people reading your profile. Seeing each other. Interviews. So this seems a little extraneous because every sentence, every word has a chance for me to lose interest. So I would take that away. This seems a little weird too. Just give value and get your point across. I mean, man, content. So this feels a little more like Ethan Evans talking about like how you do things. Again, show that this gives a little more impact, but I think he puts some numbers in there that you don't have. I see myself as a bridge between tech world and non-tech residents thereof. One culture of high performers is often esoteric. Average people can't understand the conversation. High performers get frustrated explaining themselves. That's where I can fit in. That's interesting. I actually really, really like that. I think you're targeting someone very specific. That's kind of cool. Maturity, listening ability. So I think we're like getting a little more and more like convincing rather than just like telling me about yourself. Like this is supposed to, yeah, this is like feels like a resume rather than an about. Training, okay, career highlights, successful, coordinated. So this, I think this might be okay. Yeah, I would just really like, I don't know how to use a LinkedIn page. I would really just try to copy like how Ethan Evans does his. Featured. Okay, cool. So you have yours. So I would make sure that these are like really smart on how you use them. I don't know if I'd include your resume because your resume, like this is your resume. So this seems like a space that could be used better to get like, this is what I've done. This is how I provide value to the scene. So whatever formatting he's doing looks very, very nice. Is the game house stuff what you want at the top? I don't know. I mean, yeah, he's been at Amazon for 15 years. That's crazy. Comparing yours. Oh, you have it here. Yeah, I would go through and maybe you can actually, you should try to get your stuff on Ethan Evans' show. Find out when he goes live, how to apply and get his input on that. Yeah, sorry, I don't think I can help much on this. I feel like I'm just like talking out of my butt when it comes to this stuff. Hopefully you found something helpful. At least get like another piece of input or a set of eyes on my opinion on these kind of things. Ethan Evans, check him out. All right. Ooh, how much time do I have? At 45 minutes on that. That's a lot of time. Yeah, no problem, Bill. Thanks for giving me content and things to talk about. And again, this is helping me think about things that I am not familiar with. So this was a really cool exercise for me too. Rizzy, I hope Worlds happens this year, but unfortunately, Riot's figuring things out. I know some things, so, but even knowing some things, I'm definitely also cautious and like worried. So I was gonna do Wesley. Wesley, are you in chat? Are you in chat today? He's not in chat. I'm gonna hold his resume off then. All right, we're gonna totally. Yeah, I have no idea if I can talk about that. Rizzy, I think it was supposed to be planned for. Yeah, I don't want to say anything because I don't know what's public and not. So I'm gonna keep that to myself. All right, hey Pancake. No, we're not shaming Wesley. Wesley works at Riot. He's the observer. He's probably getting ready for that. He sent me this resume. I'll look at it. I want to get to it maybe at the end of the stream, but if he said he's going to try to make it. That's perfectly fine. So it's supposed to be in China. That's definitely tricky. But the NBA, Riot has definitely has other examples to look out for when it comes to all these traditional sports like the MLB, NHL, the NBA. All those guys have open NASCAR, so they can see how that's going. Yeah, it really. I mean, no matter what if they're gonna decide to figure, the solution has to be a bubble. A bubble. It has to be a bubble. Unless they get really, really creative, or something happens where like, yeah, it just has to be a bubble. It'd be really sad to not see how NA stacks up against international competition. We always gotta be hopeful. All right, that first resume was kind of a weird one when it comes to everything else I've done on this channel. I struggled through it a little bit. This one is also going to be a weird one because I don't understand anything. Pancake, this is your resume. And I asked you to give it to me like this. So I'm curious at what's going to happen by looking at it, but I want to intro this resume by... Okay, actually, I got to do my whole YouTube intro if I ended up making this into YouTube. All right, we got a resume here. If you can see it on the screen, maybe you can understand it. I cannot understand it. We're going to do something a little different here because I just want to look at this resume at how am I going to, what does this resume make me feel? What am I thinking about this resume when I actually don't understand a single word of it except Adrian, because I know who that is. So let's jump into it. What does this resume do? Where is my attention coming from? And actually, hopefully it gives Adrian some understanding because he actually knows what these are. And then he's going to be like, wow, I'm surprised that doesn't pop out better or more. Okay. This might be a really short video. Adrian, you are in chat too, which is very, very helpful. I love that. By the way, short plug. I created a Discord. I'm going to post it in chat. This is where I'm going to be taking resume reviews from moving forward, not Twitter DMs. I'm trying to create a community where people that want to get into esports, people that are in esports can actually talk about these things and help each other out. And I can learn from you guys, you can learn from me, and we'll get more direct communication. I think it'll be helpful. Check out that Discord if you want. Adrian. Okay, first thing. I actually love how this resume looks. It looks super fresh. The color scheme, I'm not sure if it's the colors, the format. I think it's the colors. I think it's the format, but it just looks really nice and clean and organized. I love it. I think the really good thing is the change of font sizes and the spacing between everything and just the color scheme in general. Like that really works. This is a smaller font. This is a bigger font. It just really helps me quickly see where this resume is all divided up. I love it. So right from the bat, I'm guessing, hey, that's a nice friendly face. You know, you're outside, you're not a basement dweller or anything like that. Or at least I can't tell from this if you are a basement dweller, Pancake. Or sorry, Adrian. And got your name, probably what you do, some cool, like, I'm guessing this is like a team player, motivated, creative, young? I have no idea. Don't tell me yet. Tell me afterwards, Pancake, of like how much I'm missing on this. But this is interesting. So it's a big picture. It's nice. It's clean. Lots of white space. And again, the information hierarchy is really, really good on this. It just makes it really clean and easy to look to because not everything is all like 12-point font where everything just kind of just meshes together and it's just like you're separating it by bold and italics. No, it's like really, really clean. I really want to talk about like it's super, super clean. It's really nice to look at. I love how this resume looks. Okay. Maybe the only thing that I might change is making this profile picture smaller. So maybe this can line like this and this can line up because suddenly there's like this weird competing. I don't know if I'm supposed to look at the left side or the top side. Oh, I don't know if I'll be able to find an example of this, but Vox did a video on like why movie posters are so different from each like oh, that's not what I want to click. Like I gotta find a good example of this. Ugh, maybe this one. Nope. Movie posters. Help me find the right movie poster. All right, so. Oh boy, you probably can't see this that well. Can I? Here we go. You guys can see this, right? The weird thing about movie posters, this is not Brie Larson. This is Samuel L. Jackson. He's second, but Brie Larson is first on there. This is Jude Law, right? And he's last, right? So there's this competition and actually like value and pay and star power that actually goes into like who's on the poster, where they're located, and the names. And the names are never in order and they never match up with who's on the movie poster, right? But the reason is because you're reading left to right, so this is the most valuable spot. And obviously in a picture, whoever is front and center, they're going to be the most valuable, like they are the star, right? And they pay for this and they negotiate all this kind of stuff. I wish I had the example, but there's another one where they're arguing like who the star power is, and they actually decided to, do I have Epic Pen? I do. Loading. They do this thing where the two stars were arguing at like who goes the prime spot and who goes the second spot. Wow, that's really thick. Right? So then what they decided to do is one name was here, name 1. And then name 2. So then it's like, so what was end up happening was then they were competing like they don't know who the most important thing is, because this one is higher because we read from top to bottom, but we also read left to right. So then is name 1 more important than name 2? This was a way to convince the movie actors that you both get the number 1 spot. So my conclusion about that is, okay, now how do I close this? Stop it. Ignore. Stop. Actually, how do I close this thing? I have no idea. F4. Okay, so point of that is I don't know where to start. Do I start here or do I start here? That's my confusion, right? I think this might be a very small thing, and maybe it doesn't matter. Because especially when I know what these words are, my eye will go maybe where I think is most important. And I'm guessing this is like about you, and this is about your work experience. Okay, so yeah, and this is your contact information. I wonder if your nationality matters. Maybe it does when you're in Europe because of where you can work and all that kind of stuff. I don't really know. This computer skills, okay, that's probably important. Okay, my guess right here is that, okay, I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm guessing what this says, because I'm guessing this is saying like how good you are or how proficient you are. I don't think that's important. I think saying you're good or 4 out of 5 or 2 out of 5, that doesn't mean anything. So, but I'm still saying really important like information about you, and it's really easy to see. It's not super long, and I am not worried about reading this. That is super big, because I'll be like, even if this takes me 5 minutes to read and I'm allotting 30 seconds for each resume, I would end up spending more time on this if I'm interested in all the text, because I feel like, oh, I could get through this really quick and skim through this really quick. I can get all the information I need from this, and then I might end up reading the whole thing because there's so much white space. It's really easy to read if it was in English for me. Okay. So I see dates very clearly. It worries me that these are actually so short. Now I'm actually saying like these are way too short, because I think this stuff is supposed to be short. This stuff, I want to know what you did and the impact you've made. unless you're just like listing off like I'm capable, I have these experiences under my belt, and for this job there's not much competition, and they just need to know that I can write, or they just need to know that I know Microsoft Office, or they just need to know that I've done X amount of hours working with students to get a job and hit specific criteria. But this doesn't scream to me that this is going to convince me that I want to hire you. But yeah, I think that's really all I have to say. This is going to be the most important information. This is what's going to convince me to hire you. This is extra information about just knowing you and maybe your capabilities, and skim through like keywords. And then this just looks a little too short. Like I want to probably know a little bit more about like what you actually did and how you did it and the impact that you created somewhere in there. I love this resume though. I really do. It just needs more content in it. Thank you, Pancake, for that resume. Thank you, Adrian. Hopefully this was, I don't know. Was that helpful? Was this interesting? Anyone in chat? Leave me a message. I really have to pee. I'll be right back. Oh, that's really interesting, Pancake. I think that's so funny. While I was peeing, I think I want to make this a YouTube video, and I thought about like the intro and what the value is and how this video is going to be shaped. So I'm going to do my quick YouTube intro and maybe outro. I don't know, but spam YouTube. All right, for this resume, I want us to do an exercise. I think this is gonna be a really good exercise to figure out, like, compare your resume to this. Where does your eye go when you can't understand this language? So I want you to be considering that. And in the comments below, I wanna know, actually, I wanna cut that because I'm gonna put that later. In the comments below, I wanna hear what you guys think. Where did your eyes go to? What stood out to you? What do you guys think about this format? Let me know, and I wanna hear, like, what the thought process is and how different or how similar it is to the way I perceive this resume when I don't understand the language. How was that YouTube? Was that YouTube voice? All right, it is 9:30. I got an hour and a half still to kill. Woo. Dude, streaming just chatting is hard. I wonder if I'll keep that movie poster thing. I really wish I could find that example. It's like an old like Western old like Hollywood movie where they decided to, like, the two only stars of Hollywood were like competing for that poster spot. All right, Pancake and Rizzy, if you're still here, I really hope that you didn't give me an update on that overtime. Guessing you lost. I'm really sorry to hear that. I got 2 resumes that I want to cover. especially for this time. We got Jason. We got Harry. And this is actually a graphic designer. And we can see a portfolio. So that's completely different. This one is more a general esports resume. Which one should we do next? The esports one. All right. Well, they're both esports, but I get what you mean. I called this the esports one. All right, we got another resume review. This one from Jason. This is esports resume. I like this resume. There is some notable esports names and experiences. So I'm curious at how we're going to up this and to see what he's doing. That was kind of weird. Maybe I'll redo that one later. Jason. So thanks for sending it. The only context he has, he changes his banner and he changes his banner depending on who he's applying for. I always like that. Tailoring it to feel like it's CLG when you're applying to CLG, or even using the same fonts as 100 Thieves when you're applying. Like, I like those little touches that just kind of make resumes that 1% extra effort that makes resumes just pop out a little bit more and kind of like mean something to whoever's looking at your resume. I always like that. So good job on that note. All your information up here, a LinkedIn profile, which is always good. LinkedIn is getting more and more important. I really don't know how it fares in the esports scene. That being said, I think the higher up you go when it comes to experience level in esports, probably the more important LinkedIn will be. All right, from the top. Oh, I know. We always do first impressions first. 1 page. Amazing. I love that. It actually doesn't fill up the whole page. I think I would rather space it out to give a little more breathing room in here rather than having a big chunk of white space here. Oh, I got a notification. We got to turn that off. Let's do that again. First impressions, 1 page. Amazing. I love that. I love that you didn't use the whole page when it came to like just filling it and blasting it into the tiny margins and just filling it with text. That being said, this still feels very cluttered or compact. I would instead use this kind of awkward space here and fit that into the rest of your content to just give more breathing room in the rest of your resume. Okay. I think there's also room for a executive summary. Oh, I forgot the phrase. I would like to see that. Yeah, you have room. Because I know even though when you apply to a specific job, they should know what job you're applying for. But still, I want you to have control over the first impression you give. And that would be the executive summary. But either way, I'm not intimidated by this. I'm excited. I see TESPA, Call of Duty League, Collegiate Star League. I'm not familiar with these, but that's perfectly fine. Those are names that I recognize, and I'm interested in this resume. At least, like, I want to see like what's going on. Me personally, I also want to jump into these before this because I'm not familiar with that, but that's perfectly fine. Actually, and that's because you're going in reverse chronological order. But maybe you change that up if that's more important. Because again, I want you to know that the further down I go, the more interest is lost, right? And the better the beginning is, the longer my attention span lasts reading this resume. That's why education's at the bottom. That's really, really good. I really, really like that. Additional experience. Yeah, apparently this is less important than this, and that's why there's less bullet points. That's good information hierarchy. Okay, let's jump into things. Let's zoom in a little bit. I think I'm not cutting off any important information with my webcam. LinkedIn page. I like that. Work experience. Business process specialist apprentice at Liberty University. Sorry guys, I feel really dehydrated and really phlegmy. Let me blow my nose. I hope that helps. I had 2 cups of coffee and I feel like I just really dehydrated me and I woke up kind of very roughly today. Set up and sent 1,700 emails, voice blasts, and text blasts with populations up to 400,000 recipients, primarily made up of prospective students, donors, and alumni. So this is okay. So first of all, just reading the first bullet point, I have no idea. I don't know what you're doing. I have no idea what I'm looking for. I don't know if is this a business person? Is this a social media person? Is this a marketing person? So I'm already confused. Reviewed SQL code, HTML, hyperlink syntax. Okay. So this bullet point is very similar to this one. And, okay. Create 400 reports for marketing stakeholders with statistics on mass communication. So this is going to be a weird analogy, but bear with me. If I'm a newspaper boy and I am put that on my resume, I could say delivered 12,000 newspapers to the front steps of multiple neighborhoods over 5 years. What is that? What is the point of that? That's telling me that I'm young and hardworking and I had a job during the summer and didn't waste my time and I'm financially sound and again productive with my time as a child, as a teen, whatever. That is kind of what I'm getting from this resume and this section. And that kind of feels bad and I don't want it to come off so poorly. But what I'm just seeing is I put out a ton of emails. So what I'm trying to say is I'm not seeing what the point of this is. And it needs to be really, really obvious to the person reading it. And because I don't have context on what this resume is about or what it's applying for, that's what I'm reading from this. So take that input carefully because maybe this is catered towards someone that that makes sense to. But right now I'm just I sent a lot of emails. Because even this seems a little fancy, but it's pretty much I made sure all the links were working in the emails. I proofread the emails. And then this one feels a little better because you're putting together decks. So this feels very business related. It seems like a lot of reports. I'm curious to are these really impactful reports, meaningful reports, or is this just oh, I sent an Excel file that updates monthly with stats and just sent that over. So I'm curious, this is forcing me to think heavily on why this is important rather than it being obvious immediately. So that is what I need you to work on with this. What was the impact of this? Why was this important? And get to the point. Esports director. Liberty Esports, so these feel like it might be related to each other. Co-founded the Liberty Esports program at a professional and competitive environment. Provided leadership for 15 officers and over 120 esports athletes competing in 12 esports. Cool. Like, I like that. That should be. Oh no, I like that. I like that. Worked with Liberty Student Government for event logistics and program direction. Managed partnership with Coca-Cola, Savage Apparel, Ubisoft College, Homeward Studios, Discord, and TESPA for program. It's like, whoa. Okay. So why is this break the rule of reverse chronological order? Everything here, like I said, this interests me so much more than this, right? I know it's out of order, but you're going to lose me here. You're going to lose me here. And I won't care if it's out of order. Like, I want to be interested in you. And that's maybe why you put a summary at the top, because then it's like, I know you do esports stuff, and then I look this, okay, whatever, I don't care about this. I'm going to skip through this because I already knew it existed in the if you gave it to me in the summary. All right, so what am I getting from this? This is just background information. Okay, I think this could be better. I think, no, this is okay. I feel like there could be something better, like co-founder of the Liberty Esports program. From zero to 120 esports athletes and 12 esports with 15 officers, something like that. I think you can combine those, right? Because this part is just like anyone can say that. It's kind of cool to see your focus being trying to make it like legit. That's what I see, and that's cool. Like, I appreciate that. But I think there's something like more impactful you could probably put in there. Worked with Liberty Student Government for event logistics and program direction. Okay. I think there's probably something missing in there too, where you could talk about like, see, worked with, like, that's not a very strong action verb or phrase. So I feel like maybe like coordinated 12 different events, coordinated logistics for 12 events with over 400 attendees per, like 400 attendees with the Liberty Student Government. I think rephrasing that could make it stronger, show impact, and then still get the point across you're trying to get, because this is not the important part. This is the important part. So get that in the front. Managed partnerships with Coca-Cola, Savage. Okay, this is awesome. Like, I want to know maybe like how that, what did that look like? What was the impact of that? Like, bringing in revenue, being able to pay, being able to get free equipment, be able to give away more swag, being able to bring in more legitimate, like, what is the, why is this important? Why is getting these partners important? I know they are, but tell me, like, show me why this is important and what problem this solved, because I think that's going to make this more impactful. General Manager, College Call of Duty League. Co-founded the CCL and expanded it from an initial 8 teams to 72 teams in 2 years. Wow, that's amazing. That's super cool. That's like, that's like, to me, I'm just like, wait, how does that manage? 72 teams is a lot. Like, what is going on here? That so right there, you have my interest. How are you going to captivate it? Keep it and captivate me. Research business setup and manage league communications and staff logistics. Okay, that's like a checkbox of what you've done. That's okay. Maybe there's something more powerful when you talk about impact, but I'm okay with that sentence. Oversaw moderation and execution of bans, punishments, and rule infractions for Discord community. Okay. Why is that important? If it's really related to the job you're applying for, great. You know? How big was the Discord community? That's something I want to see there. maybe even like how can you quantify the busyness of the Discord channel? Like if you're saying like manage like oversaw moderation and execution of bans punishments, moderation of a 500 plus member Discord channel with an average of 12,000 chat communications daily or something like that. Like that's just like, whoa, that seems like a lot. Is that a lot? And I don't know, maybe that's not a lot, maybe that is, but that makes me start thinking like, whoa, that's impact. Like you're controlling like the narrative around your moderation at being like, I moderated a lot of people in a very busy Discord, right? I think those numbers can make that extra impact on this bullet point. Event support coordinator, TESPA. Whoa, that's a big legit league. I think TESPA is also all capitalized, so you might want to. And is TESPA actually the official name? Is it just TESPA? Is it not TESPA? Okay, it is just TESPA, and it's not all capitalized. So we're gonna edit that out. Planned event support themes, content, and resources for fall 2020 event. Acted as a public face representative for TESPA, communicating with chapter leaders. Created learning material for university chapter events. Developed TESPA community spin down program due to COVID-19. Ooh, that's interesting. Okay, so you were just, again, saying your responsibilities and things that you achieved, but I don't see the impact and the numbers behind it. So this is kind of okay. It looks like it was a short time, so that makes me feel like, oh, you're just like getting things done but didn't create impact. But if you're able to tell me that you created a huge impact in 4 or 5 months, that would be pretty impressive. So talk about the events that you did. Yeah, I'd rather hear about the one event that you planned and what happened and the impact you made on that than hearing like all your responsibilities. And again, these are going to be shaped by what you're applying for. Campus Gaming Ambassador, Collegiate Star League. Woo, Collegiate Star League. And let's see how wrong I am again about how this capitalization and everything works. Collegiate Star League. So it's all caps right there. So that doesn't really help me figure out. Collegiate Star League. The L is not capitalized, even though it's CSL. It's not capitalized, so don't capitalize that. Very minor gripes, but this is important when it comes. If they knew Collegiate Star League and they didn't know that, this is like those attention to details that are really important. That if you're not able to make a perfect resume that you're supposed to spend tons of time in with no typo, how are you gonna do when I give you a job? Right? That's really, really important. If this is a social media position and I see grammar and spelling errors when you have spell check on, like that would worry me. So this, again, you don't want to have these small details as a problem. Promoted Collegiate Star League to college students through events and social media. Cool. Hosted 5 Collegiate Star League sponsored events on campus for students. Formed 8 student esports teams to compete in Star League tournaments. So, hello. Thank you for the follow. Manny, welcome. Okay, well, Manny's application is obviously going to have to come next. Oh, by the way, I also did not say I missed one. The Gary Ann, Maxa Lily, Son of Paint. Thank you all for the follows hours ago, actually before the stream started. That's why I missed it. But man, thank you for the follow. Welcome. Where was I? Okay, so promoted Collegiate Star League, hosted. You don't need to say Collegiate Star League anymore. You could either say CSL and I'd get it probably. Or you could just like, we're already talking about Collegiate Star League, so you could save some space with that. From 8 student esports teams, hosted 5 events, promoted. So I feel like it started off so strong here and you like lost steam in writing your resume here. Like, show some impact. Give me some more detail. Don't give me a list of your responsibilities. If you really are trying to just list off your responsibilities, that's fine. But if you really have something more impactful when you've been here for almost a year, like, Tell me more stories about like what these sponsored events were and like what you accomplished through that. Like show me impressive things. If the only impressive thing you're saying is that you've done 5 of them and you've formed 8 of these, like maybe that's all you got, but I bet there's more value you can extract from this without me having to dig for that information, right? So let's start with the first one. Promoted Collegiate Star League to college students through events and social media. Promoted events by creating social media campaigns that maybe increased attendance from 300 the previous year to 500 the next year, something like that. Or maybe the staff that you managed to promote that, or the direction that you gave. Give me some impact. Hosted 5 collegiate events, so attendance numbers, prize pool, those are some accomplishments and impact. Student esports teams to compete in Star League tournaments. Maybe it'd be really cool if you had some success stories there, like how well they did, but that might be tricky. This one, maybe that one's okay. Education or additional experience. Ooh, not education. Esports consultant, crew leader, point of sale software developer. So you're just including these to include them. That's fine. And they don't take up much space. I'm okay with you if you feel like you need to put those in there. But I'm really interested in like what this esports consultant is. This hurts me. You write out the full month and then suddenly you shorthand February, but then August is full again, and then June, and then you shorthand August to AUG. That's weird. That's inconsistency. Those things bother me, and I think they're actually really important. BS in business administration. So you're not graduated yet. That's really cool that you have so much actual like notable esports experience. Specialization, entrepreneurship, organizations. That's cool. It's nice to see you doing other stuff besides this, and you're still like really involved in things, and entrepreneurship is a big deal for you. That's really cool. So now I know your business administration. So that gives a little more context here. But again, once you start applying for specific jobs, really start tailoring this resume. I think this is a really good starting point in general resume. It's not focused. Actually, so I take that back. I don't think this is a super great general resume because it's not focused. That being said, I think this is one of those things where like you pull this aside. These are all the bullet points you have for all these things. And then when you create a resume for specific things, you just pull like, okay, I'm going to take these 3 bullet points. I'm going to take these 2 bullet points. I'm going to change the order to make sure that like these are more relevant to this job that I'm applying for. So yeah, this is a nice listing of your experiences and accomplishments, but it's lacking focus. So I just kind of did the conclusion, but I'm going to do the conclusion again, at least for YouTube. So I think in conclusion, this is a really good resume. You have very notable experiences. I think it's lacking focus. So we got to make sure that depending on the job you're applying for, you really need to tailor like these bullet points to them, to those specific jobs, and reordering things because you lost my interest here. And if I was a super, super busy person, I might, unless I need like an administrative assistant, all this stuff that's probably more relevant to what you're interested in, what your education is, and what your passion is, it gets lost if I don't get through this. So that's why I think an executive summary can help people to get focused and hooked into what you're trying to do. And then again, a little more spacing to give more white space instead of just keeping all your white spaces at the bottom. I think this is a really good resume. I think you're very on way to potentially finding an esports job right out of college because you're not out of college yet. And if anything, I think I don't think there's an and. Thank you so much for this resume. I think this is really good, Jason. I think that's how you pronounce your name. Keep it up. Oh, my one advice to you, since you have at least a year. Whoa, you have less than a year. Less than a year going. I'll think about what kind of jobs you want in esports, and then look at either LinkedIn profiles and resumes of the people that have those jobs or job postings and figure out what's missing in your resume. And then really, really focus hard on maybe those things, on getting that experience in your last semester of college or last 2 semesters, last year of college. Thank you so much for this resume. All right, who else do we got here now? How's that resume? What did you guys think about this one? I'd love to know your thoughts. Seriously, mad respect for just chatting streamers. No wonder why everyone does React stuff. It gives them a break. My goodness. It looks a bit empty. Yeah, Manny. I think you probably caught the end of what I just said too, especially where like I like the white space a lot. There's actually a ton of experience that's really good here. There's not a lot of fluff, which I really, really appreciate. Like I don't have like the skills section that's just like social media, event organization. Like there's a lot of I don't need that fluff, and I'm getting all that information in here anyway. Uh, but what I want to see is you spread this out a little bit over the whole page instead of this awkward white space to give a lot of white space here and make it really easy to skim over and read. Maybe a dumb question. I'm not a fan of the idea that there are no dumb questions. There are stupid questions. That being said, you can ask stupid questions and that's okay. But in what cases do people prefer a plain resume like this and a more aesthetic one like yours? If that makes sense, since both, I assume, can be specific cases and branches. So let's pull up yours again if people are jumping in later. Can I not? Oh, there we go. Perfect. So let's look at these side by side. So again, your question is plain or aesthetic? So I think very, very plain resumes are very good when you think you're going to be, you think very traditional people are going to be looking at your resumes, right? I think if you're applying for Amazon, you don't want all this stuff on here because companies like Amazon, your resumes are going through the computer. They're getting scanned, they're being skimmed by robots, computers, AI. So therefore, things like custom fonts, photos, maybe fonts that aren't very familiar to a computer, things might get lost. I think something like this logo might could potentially confuse a computer. I doubt it nowadays, but like you don't want weird things or margins or formatting issues to make it harder for a computer to read. And that's when I would go for a very traditional one. For small to medium sized companies, I think any way to stand out, putting any extra effort to, you know, match the color scheme, to match the company, to give actually like a portfolio or write a cover letter that's really meaningful, or even to give like be creative in your resume where it's actually like a 3-page presentation deck or a video resume or something. Those are when like those really, really stand out, right? If you think this is gonna go across someone's desk, I always hate like printing out like things that are full of color, but they can still look really pretty and stand out. So I think ultimately, if you're making this for a human or a robot, I think that's what I would say. And definitely not a dumb question. I think this is a very important question that you need to think about. And, you know, I have sent resumes, two versions that are like colorized and one that's like printer friendly. I've done that before. Yeah, I think so. And honestly, which I'll talk about eventually, and we'll watch some content from Ethan Evans, Devin Nash, when they talk about what was I going with that? Oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought. Bigger the company, the plainer you want it. Yes. Oh, my point was the bigger the company, the more you can rely on network to actually get you a job. I think that's really important. For example, when I was dating my wife, I was working at Honeywell in the oil industry, and I, my wife was still in college, or she was my girlfriend. She was still in college, and I told her to go to the booth and say my name. And I also told the hiring person, like, hey, like, um, I know someone. I didn't say my girlfriend. I said, oh, I know someone that is looking for an internship. Really smart person, also a female in engineering. Um, and she'll be stopping by the booth. So then Jane, she went to the booth. She talked to that specific person too, and she was saying that the person seemed very bored looking and talking to her, Jane, until she mentioned my name, and then her eyes perked, her ears perked, her eyes went like, got a little more like, oh, hello, and she got an interview, killed the interview, and bam, she ended up getting the internship. So the bigger the company, my point of the story is the bigger the company, networking is really important, because if you can bypass this whole resume stuff or the going through and scanning and going through HR and hiring managers, what ends up happening is that, like, if I'm able to give a legit recommendation for someone, like, hey, I know Adrian, he's done this stuff, I trust him, and I can be like, hey boss, like, you're hiring for this, like, you should check out Adrian, here's his resume. Like, he's like, oh, he's gonna take my word for it as long as I have credibility and I haven't like burned bridges with my boss or something. And he's like, oh yeah, sure, I'll definitely take a look at it. So that's important. Uh, if you can bypass this whole hiring process, that can really, really help. And I think that's honestly everyone's goal. If you look at, like, let's say you're applying for a traditional job. Let's say I think the example. Oh, we're gonna get into this later, so maybe I shouldn't get into this. But yeah, I'm not gonna get into that as much. Does that? I think that answers your question, Manny. So if I knew someone from GG I can network with, then and get a job there easily. Noted. Very, very funny, Manny. Um, I wouldn't say it's easy. It's easier. I wouldn't say easily. I would say it's easier, right? There are people that know me and have asked for video editing work, and I would never recommend them because I know how unqualified they are, right? Not talking about you, Manny. I think you're great. Um, yeah. I think that's all I have to say right now. Right now. What time is it? 10. All right, we got an hour left. So what I'm going to do, we got Jason's done. I'm going to do, Manny sent me two. So maybe it'll go quickly. I'm going to at least get through one. Oh, I think they're important to do side by side. Manny, you're going to have to help me out here. This one is for the coaching position that you got with FlyQuest, or that you got an interview with FlyQuest. And this one is can I recommend you for Dana's job? And you're BRB. Tell me when you're back, and I'll flame you in my answer. I'm gonna have to look up our Well, we talked about Manny to make sure I know which resume is which. Although I thought this is the manager position with FlyQuest. This is the one that you got to interview for. Okay, so. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're gonna get through both of these. I have a hard stop at 11. We're gonna get through both of these, and I might rush these, but that's okay. I think that's perfectly fine. Gotta do my YouTube intro now. Ooh, okay, wait, I need to compose myself. I'm like so. We're good. I'm not going crazy. Thank you, Manny. Okay. All right, we got another resume review. This one is from a good friend of mine, Manny. We have some history. We've done some content together. And this is a resume that actually got an interview for a FlyQuest position. I believe a general management position or a team management position. He can correct me because he's in chat right now. By the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, go check the Twitch channel, linked in the episode description. If you want more resume reviews, go to the episode description or the YouTube description. I have a Discord. The link is there, and I will be taking resumes in the Discord, trying to create a community, bring people together to help each other that are in the esports industry or trying to get in the esports industry. Because let's be real, this grind is really, really hard. We need people alongside us to make it happen. Because this grind is so impossible and so depressing by yourself. Let's get to the resume. I'm like tripping over my tongue is all twisted. I can't get my idioms right. I am struggling. What do we do? First thing with resumes, we look at the whole thing, first impressions. Okay. Manny. The colors are intense. This is a really vibrant red, and it's actually really hard to look at. I do not like the red. It's a nice highlight for here, but also red is not, I think, a good highlighting color because the association I get is just like bad. It's like when I think about numbers in red, they're negative, not positive. When I think about red marks, it's like corrections and proofreading. So I would think about the color scheme here. But since you got an interview, the content must be really good. So this is for a management position at FlyQuest. I think a team manager position, like I said. I know what you are doing right away. That's really cool. Professional skills right there, personal skills, a list of things, contact information, references, profile. I love that this is a summary and it's not too long. It's really easy to read. It's also like very nicely organized. There's a bit of text, but the text isn't like crammed and overwhelming. So I'm not very intimidated by it, but I think I would like to see, especially with these like long paragraphs, like maybe a separation between bullet points, because I don't know, I can't really easily see what's going on here and where to start if I'm skimming. Especially like this. This is actually 6 different bullet points, but it looks like a long paragraph. So it's a bit confusing. It's very hard to skim. You want your resume to be very easy to skim. And information here. Okay, cool. I think it's an okay resume. It's just the red is super, super intense. It's actually really hard to look at. Okay, so I'm gonna look at your profile first. Extremely motivated to constantly develop my skills and grow professionally. I'm confident in my ability to work in a fast-paced environment. Great understanding of how to communicate properly with different people and departments as needed. I want to work on making sure the players in our team are able to do their best, not just in game, but also in life. So that's a nice, touching, like, personality statement. I really like that. It shows that you care. You're not a robot. It's a really nice, like, just subtle touch that's not too sappy. I think maybe it is sappy, but I think it's good. There's some weird spacing thing here, I think, that just kind of imbalances it, but that's also just like a graphic thing. It's really hard. If you're gonna do design, you gotta make sure it's done well. And if you're not a design person, that can be really hard. So I like to use templates. Maybe use a template here. Not really sure, but I feel like you need some space here. There's some space here that is not equal there, and then I would also say this space is larger than this space, so that's kind of weird too. So design stuff is an issue. Oh, also that margin at the bottom is really, really small. So I'd be careful with that too. So yeah, it's still nice and organized, but there's small design things that if the person's familiar with design, they might tag you for. And if they're not, also, by the way, this is not a standard page, which is really odd to me too. And I know you're not US based, so maybe there's a different standard there. But that's kind of weird. I don't know how I feel about that. So because it's distracting already, I would heavily consider having a standard page, maybe at least for the country that you're applying for. Zoom into an appropriate amount. Okay, so, and this is a topic that I want to get into if I have time. The company is not necessarily interested in what they can do for you. You need to sell what you can do for did I say country? The company is not interested in what they can do for you. The company is interested in what you can do for them. So extremely motivated to constantly develop my skills and grow professionally. So is it my responsibility as a company to help you do that? It's nice to see that you're these things, but I don't know if you put it in here like that. The first thing, and then I'm confident in my ability to work in a fast-paced environment. So that is not convincing me. That's just you trying to sell yourself. Not convincingly sell yourself to me. I think a stronger start would be great understanding of how to communicate properly with different people and departments as needed. Or even like, I want to work on making sure the players in our team are able to do their best, not just in game, but also in life. Like, I think either of those sentences are stronger starts because they're about you and what you can provide to me as a company, right? So I think that's a big focus here. So think about what is your number one important thing that sells you to the company for this position as a team manager? And how are you going to help me with that, right? So maybe it's I know this is not it, but it's with my psychology degree in maybe my psychology degree with a minor in communication, I'm able to really bring a cohesive understanding of players and uniting them and being able to motivate them in certain ways. That could be a very convincing one if that was true. For you, proving that you can understand and communicate properly with different people and departments, that's really, really important. And then making sure that the players are number one and your priority is on them and making their life great. Ooh, I don't know if you can hear my stomach growling. That is also a really good thing. So I think those are the things that you put up in front. And then this stuff, it's a little fluffy. I want you to convince me with it, and these two sentences don't really convince. They're nice, but they're not convincing, right? I think they're okay, but when it comes to making this really stand out, it needs to be really impactful. All right, going to experience. Assistant coach manager, Southern Collegiate Gaming. So for about a year. So these two, even though this is present, this should be in past tense. It's just standard for resume. Supervised, ensured, partnered, managed, assessed. Create, aid, develop. So these should be created, aided, developed, paired, right? Maintain it. Okay, so create a program that has a main focus on academic success while also enhancing student skills and sportsmanship. That's cool. That tells me what you did. That's confusing because this comma is really small. So I thought that was a period, and because again the bullet pointing is not there, it was hard. Maybe even just putting a space between it. You got to prioritize information and make it really easy, clear to skim through again. Sportsmanship, communication, accountability, respect, character, and teamwork. So that's a lot of different things that are kind of buzzwordy. I think they're okay. I think it could be better. But again, this is the first, like, this is what I did. This is what the position was. So, okay. Now I want to see some impact because I haven't seen it yet. Developed and administered program policies which share institutional values and philosophy. Okay. So again, this is very like, high level stuff. I'm still not seeing the nitty gritty and being convinced that you can do this. You're just saying that you can do it. Prepared, maintained, and accurately prepared maintained and accurately scheduled facility. I might even take out accurately because it's just fluff. Like, it show me that you've done it accurately rather than just tell me. Prepared, maintained, and scheduled facilities for practices, games, and meetings in collaboration with other departments and staff, comma, members. I don't know. That's weird grammatically. That's not needed there. Okay, so I kind of take back my comment where you have to maybe show this because, again, this is just like listing your responsibilities, and that's okay. I want to see impact here. I don't see impact. You're just telling me what you've done, and I'm not convinced that you've done it and how good you are at it, right? If you're able to do that, that takes us up to the next level. How would I do that, though, is the question. Tell me how many people, how many teams you worked with. Give me an example of how you maybe, what are the maybe like what are the policies that you implemented that really were creative or important that created the most impact? Maybe that's the way, because maybe you can't really put numbers into this, but you got to figure out, I think there's a way to quantify the impact in a non-numbers way. Okay. Freelance journalist, video editor. You're doing this currently with a company. Edit videos informing viewers of the latest in League of Legends. Okay, that's you can edit videos. That's what I'm getting from there. Write SEO focused website articles about competitive gaming. I know SEO is super important. Okay, research and fact check information for videos. Use social media to share all published content efficiently. Write scripts for videos and give all necessary information. Voiceover informative videos following the script provided. So, as a manager, how does this help me? It's good to know that you're doing things. So I think that's important. So maybe there's a way you put that all into one bullet point that, like, oh, creating content, keeping up with the latest League of Legends information, like when it comes to strategy. Yeah, I think that's the only thing I would maybe be interested in, even if you're doing like more content about new skins, new champion releases, like news. But what I would be interested in, I think, is like how familiar you are with maybe that works. Yeah, I want a little more detail about just like what in League of Legends you're specifically like covering. I probably don't care about SEO stuff. The research is good because it's detailed. Social media is probably not that important. Scripting is probably not that important. Yeah, this is weird because like I think the point of this is to show that like you're working, you're organized, and you are keeping up with League of Legends. So that means you'll be relatable to the players and just like what's going on in the whole atmosphere of League of Legends esports. So I would omit everything else that's not that, and if you want to put that in there, get it in like very generally and impactful. Like I would say maybe like creating content that's netting over this many views, but this might be a small website. I'm not really sure. Yeah, especially when it comes to content, getting traction and numbers to accentuate and to validate how strong your content is important, I would say. And I think you could put that all in like one thing. And then again, just make sure you come across that like League of Legends. But this is a little just bullet pointy, really quick. Like this is what I've done. So it's nice, but it's not impactful. It's not like very drawing to me. General manager at radio station. And I might even put radio station there in case they just don't realize that this is a radio station. Supervised 6 departments and approximately 40 active members. Ensured that the radio station and its program followed all FCC guidelines and regulations. Partnered with university media outlets to cross-promote and produce events that benefit each organization as well as draw in members of the university and surrounding communities. That was long. Manage okay, there's a big number. That's important. Put that up top. So like that's very relatable to this job. Assess student learnings related to time management, creativity, teamwork. Okay, so here, supervision of 6 departments. Okay, I would put a numerical number, like the actual 6, or I would put the big number 6, just to keep up with all these other numbers that are put out numerically instead of with letters. I don't even know how to distinguish that. How do you say that? Is it the Romanized numbers? Romanized versus characters? I don't really know. Anyway, that's important. Supervised departments and approximately that many members. That's cool. That's important. I would put this up there. Manage the budget to determine expenditures among the radio station. That's really good too. This is good too, but not as important as the first two. These 2 bullet points. This is also related. This is also important because you need to coordinate with like Riot and other people for the team managers. So I want to, this is a really long sentence to say something simple. Instead, make it long to maybe talk about the impact and the scope of the partnerships. This one is a little, I don't understand what this, assess student learnings related to. I don't really get what that is. Like, are you helping other people do that? Are these things that you focused on? These are the skills that you built from this? I'm really confused at that. And it seems a little fluffy. Seems a little forced. Education. You went to a college. That's cool. That's really good. This Korean course is actually a very good thing you're putting in there. I am confused and intrigued because this was September, October. Yeah, this was only 2 months, and I don't exactly know what this is. And I think if you explained it, this would be punchier because this leaves questions, but not in a good way. Or, sorry, I said that wrong. This leaves questions that might prevent. You want to leave intrigue and questions for them to ask you in the interview, but this leaves me questions like, I don't like that. Oh, make me not want to look into it. Like, why didn't you just tell me that you took like a level 3 Korean course? Because is someone going to know what Korean 25 course is? That's really confusing to me. I want it very, very obvious. And it's cool that you did it. And maybe this is like an English teaching course. Like, I'm not exactly sure. So I think this is important, especially when you're working with this is really huge because players in NA or teams in NA have Korean imports. So like, that's really good. Like, so tell me that like, you know Korean. Tell me you've learned a little bit of Korean. Like, this doesn't say it right off the bat. I want to be told that. Okay, so ultimately, I think this is decent. I think, and this obviously got an interview, so there's good stuff in here. The notes, in conclusion, I would say, okay, let me start that over. In conclusion, I think this is a pretty good resume. It obviously, like you said, got you an interview with FlyQuest because you've definitely shown like you have these bullet points of responsibilities and experience that a team manager would have. I think what would increase your chances of an interview is putting in the impact that's missing in this resume. I think also working on this summary to really hook better by just prioritizing the sentences that are up in front and taking out the fluff. And then also making this a lot easier to skim through, because they might not quickly be able to see that you're qualified or that you have the experiences, because these look like huge paragraphs rather than like separate sentences that should be bullet pointed. So maybe even putting space between each sentence, adding just bullet points, which I'm like very big fan of, would also help. So, but good. Solid resume, Manny. Okay, I want to compare that to your second resume. How much time? What time is it? Okay, 10. I'm going to give this like 3 minutes. Content creator. So this is different. This one was for team management. This is for content creation. So personal profile. Proficient and detail oriented. I'm a content creator that involves myself in as much as possible. That's a little bit weird verbiage, but that's technically okay. So I would actually change that up a little bit. Video editing, podcasting, even production are some aspects I've done in the past. That's also a weird phrase to use. It's not, it's like, oh, you know, I probably am, I'm detail oriented and proficient. And I probably have some things that would make me a good content creator for this position. Like, it doesn't feel very like straightforward and impactful. Also like the color scheme a lot. The organization is really, really clean too. Examples of your work. I'm guessing those were censored. I always like examples. Always put examples. Always link out to them. I see some weird inconsistencies when you say you're detail oriented with the bullet pointing. There's spaces after this bullet and there's not spaces after these bullets. This font is different, so that's confusing. This font is different. Actually, yeah, there's inconsistencies. There's inconsistencies, so that worries me, especially when you say you're detail oriented. What do I want from a content creator? I would want someone that's probably proactive, that has the technical skills. So put in those skills in here, which is not communication first, not maybe collaboration, but I want to see like, oh, do you have Premiere Pro, Adobe Suite, DaVinci, podcasting, languages? Like, I think those would all be ahead. If you don't do it, I follow. Thanks. Hey, Gary Ann. I don't know if you heard my shout out. Thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. The spam is a little bit annoying on the video. Don't spam. I didn't what it? All right. Going back to this. So yeah, I think this needs to be organized a little bit better when it comes to like what's important, right? Freelance editor, Newegg, that's a big deal. Golden Guardians, that's a big deal. ESTNN, some people know about that. All right. Produce Twitter content cut from final edit of video. Make sure it fits the desired brand guidelines. So, okay, cut down 4 hours of multi-cam stream into an enjoyable sub-hour experience, ensuring continuity and fluidity in final product. Follow brand protocol. Okay, there's also an empty bullet point here. Follow brand protocols and make any necessary changes to final video to fit necessary sponsored deliverables. So I think you're downplaying a lot of what you're able to do, because you're talking about like, oh, like, yes, I made this thing, but it wasn't like the full thing. I didn't start from the beginning. I kind of made it from like these weird, like, you're downplaying your stuff. Just say like you created Twitter content. If you want, you could say you repurpose Twitter content. You repurpose long form content to fit on Twitter to bring 10% increased audience to the YouTube video. That gives me impact. That shows me that you're successful, and that doesn't downplay what you've done. Cut down 4 hours of multicam stream into an enjoyable sub-hour experience. Enjoyable is kind of weird. Ensuring continuity, fluidity, and the final product. Like, everything you create should be have continuity and fluidity as an editor and content creator. So I think it's just like, this is kind of weird. I get what you're saying, but this is literally just video editing, taking a lot of content and condensing it down into a small piece of content. So this one feels weird to me. I'd rather you say like, hey, cut down a podcast into a sub-hour experience, not even experience. Yeah, something's weird there. And I feel like you're covering up like a lack of video editing for Newegg, which kind of worries me. Freelance producer. Produce Twitter content around our legal edge. Okay, by the way, it's not just Twitter. This is on Instagram too, by the way. So I would just say social media. Produce social media content around our League of Legends team, primarily behind the play. So this is not happening anymore. That's one thing. I would say like edit videos and drafts for the content team to visualize potential new series or pieces. Write SEO focused content and pitches for the team and keep on track with trends and memes following esports and social media. Again, this is just a list of things that you've done. Like, especially if we're talking about content creator and that's not a fluffy content creator, I would say like you need to come up with original ideas that are engaging, that fit the audience, and that you have a lot of forethought and figuring out how to start it from create it from beginning to end, right? I think you've done that in here, but it's not convincing. Like, what does produce mean, right? And you've done some really important and things for that. Like, you outlined it, you combed through footage to figure out what's the best way and to get it into a very concise storytelling moment in a very short amount of time without narration and just visual cues, right? So like there's a huge challenge behind the play, and that is not at all like figured out here. So I think that's where you're leaving a lot on the table that's not there in the behind the play series. A lot of this is just also just the to-dos, not really talking about impact that much. Okay, gotcha, Manny. This is an old resume and you haven't gotten that far into that job. Dude, Rizzy, if you want to help with tailgates, you should totally like this is what you should do. You should reach out to whoever's in charge of that, which you might think it's me, it's not. And you can reach me and ask, and I can forward you to Rachel, who is in charge of that stuff. If you're interested in that, you totally should. And that could be just freelancing. That might be a volunteer thing. I don't know, but it's good to put on your resume or make a little bit of change. Freelance journalist video editor. Edit videos informing viewers on the latest of League of Legends. Research SEO focus website articles about competitive gaming. Research and fact check. So again, these are just a list of things that you've done, which is good, but I want to see impact. Like it's fine if you give a list of how you are involved in some projects, but I want to see some impact of what you've done. General manager, we talked about this already, and there's some formatting issue there. And yeah, okay. So I think we see similar issues between these two. I think this one is a little less convincing when it comes to content creation. And again, it could be job specific. If they're just looking for a video editor, I mean, I might even put just, you know what? And maybe you censored this, but I think your name is more important. You put your name, fix this personal profile because it's not impactful, add impact and like depth into these. Don't just list your job requirements and responsibilities. Cool. Thanks, Manny. And these two resumes, I will have to save for a later time. Because we're going to move on from resume reviews because I need a little bit of a break and I really, really want to try this new thing that I've thought out. Now, what we're going to do, and I want to get your guys' input. Yeah, no problem, Manny. Really appreciate it. And, I'm really rooting for you, dude. Really rooting for anyone. that's trying to get into esports. Honestly, I really want good people in esports. I want to help you guys. I want you guys to get better than me at doing this because thanks, Dr. Ham. I miss you, dude. It's been so long. We should catch up sometime, play some games, lose some league games together. Yeah, I want good people in esports because even if they're better than me, I want that because I want people to push me. And I love working with people that are smarter than me and better than me at what they do or what I do because that pushes me, that inspires me, that keeps a team going. And seriously, the problem with esports, the big pending doom of the esports bubble, if we have to hire 12 people when we can have 6 really talented people that do the job really, really well and efficiently, that makes us profitable. If we have good ideas, really good people that solve problems, that is going to make esports successful and avoid the bubble. Okay, before I go, I have to pee. Then we're going to get into the next stuff for like 30 minutes. Dude, I am exhausted. This is hard. But I want to provide value to you guys. All right. So I'm going to take notes about things to talk about because I think it's really, really important. And I got a note sheet here too. But okay. So before I start, if you guys don't know, Devin Nash, he is definitely a personality. I think he rubs some people the wrong way. A lot of people like him. I like him. And I think he's very, very smart. He is like the first and foremost expert on Twitch. He runs an agency, his own company, co-founded or co-run by him and someone else. He used to own CLG, and he had one of his best friends is Ethan Evans, who is an Amazon VP. I've talked about these guys before. I think their content is so good. I've heard from some people in chat that their content's not for them, but I'm just like, oh my goodness, this stuff is so good. People need to hear it, and if they won't listen to it directly from them, at least get my input from it. And I'm gonna like just take the highlights of some of their talks and give my input. And honestly, a lot of things that they talk about are things that I have exactly done in my esports career. So I want to get into it and cover as much as I can in the last 20 minutes I have, or maybe 10 minutes. I'm not sure, but what we're talking about right here is where are my notes? Oh, my puppy is whining now. He wants to play. Tippers, you have to wait. You have to wait. Daddy's almost done. All right? Oh, TP Bear. We're talking about networking and how applying for jobs is like the worst strategy ever.
So first,
Oh, I'm on 2 times speed. I'm gonna put it at like 1.25 though.
I say looking for a job, if you're out of work and you need a job, is a full-time job. So it is possible to productively spend 40 hours a week looking for work. And some people are going to be like, what do I do? What do I apply? Like I sent in 10 job applications. There's no more openings. Well, first, bullshit. But second, applying for jobs is a terrible strategy. Wait, what? You said get a job. You have to network. So, for example, one of the guys who started my team today, yesterday, I guess, I posted an ad on LinkedIn looking for people, and he contacted me, wasn't qualified for that role, but we hooked him up and he interviewed elsewhere. The point is, though, he came in through a networking lead. Like he came to me and I passed him to someone else, and that person found him a role where he fit, and then they interviewed him, but he came in by reaching out. And
Okay, so I want to talk about this. How important this is, and how this has happened to me, and how I do this with people. I've talked to a lot of video editors. I have seen a lot of video editors and people that I haven't contacted, but I've seen their stuff. And I want them to get a job. That'd be awesome. And sometimes I don't have the right job for them, right? But the thing is, I have tried to hand off editors to other people. I have come back to people months after they've responded to me and being like, hey, I have a job for you now, right? So getting to me directly or to a person that you want in your network directly is so important, because we remember, and most people in esports just like really want the scene to do well and succeed, right? So I think this is so important. And this is how I've gotten jobs. Travis Gafford was working with me. Or I was working for Travis Gafford. If you don't know who Travis Gafford is, he's a huge YouTuber, interviewer for the League of Legends esports scene. And doing stuff for him, eventually I found out that he contacted my current boss, Spellsy, and being like, you need to hire this guy right now. And that's how I got in contact with my boss. And that's eventually how I got hired some freelance work and then got in full time. That's how powerful a network is, right? Before Travis, I worked with Weldon, and I think he's helped like vouch for me on multiple things. When I was working with Travis, he also got me in contact with Ateo, who is an esports clothing brand company, and that helped me. That got me my in and first meeting with Ateo. This has helped me so many times, and a lot of it like stemmed from Travis, right? But all these little connections help. And what's going to happen is after like I'm 5 years, 10 years in esports or whatever, and even if I leave esports, like these connections that I have with my coworkers, and if you guys have worked in professional environments, you see this happen. I have people from my Honeywell job that now work at Shure and other companies, and I can potentially pull those people and talk to them and get jobs in engineering if I wanted to. Like those networking is so important, because then you already have an in right away instead of going through a resume process and getting your resume put through a computer or falling on someone's desk or getting coffee stains on it and thrown away. Because resumes are hard and some people aren't good at resumes. So bypass that through a network. Okay, let's keep going.
And everyone has to do that somewhere. The power of being introduced, the power of the network is so huge. And you and I have talked about this, but
we have. I think tactically speaking, a lot of people are like, okay, that's great. I understand that networking is something that I need to do. What the hell do I do? Now, to me, that translates right now in this ecosystem as like literally triple down on LinkedIn, send inquisitive messages to companies that you are interested in working for, but not in the sense of like, hi, I'm looking for a job, but in the sense of like, I'm looking to learn more about this industry and make a connection. If you have time for like a 30-minute call, I'm looking for some guidance. And I think the difference.
The caveat here I have, for some people that makes sense for LinkedIn. I mean, no one does LinkedIn stuff. And therefore that means if you LinkedIn me a message versus Twitter DM me, if I'm super busy and I have 20 Twitter DMs every day, which I don't, but if I have one LinkedIn message a day, most likely I'll see that LinkedIn message. So, but I would say most of the times it's Twitter DMs.
Between that and like, because I'll tell you, like, the more forward facing you get as a person.
Okay, this is we can skip this stuff.
You'll be dozens, like Nerd Fusion. Can I work as an intern? I'll work for free. I have hundreds of those.
Wow.
Lots of other people that are asking, hey, I want a job. Can I work for Nerd Fusion? Can I work as an intern? I'll work for free. Things like that. Lots of other people that are like, how do I grow my stream? And the trend here is that everybody wants something. They don't want to provide value. If you can find some way to provide value to someone, in a LinkedIn message and a connection with the skill that you have. So, for example, almost all of the video editors.
Okay, this is so important. There's this, and they're gonna talk about this a little bit more, but like think about all the networks and reaching out to people when you cold call people as a transaction. Like, well, we should treat people like people, and we shouldn't be like, I'm looking for something and I'm gonna give you something. But if you're able to create a relationship where you're providing more value than they're able to, there's a social contract that other person that's been provided value for wants to be like, wait, how can I return this? I'm in debt now in our exchange. Therefore, that's going to be like, hey, sometimes they'll ask like, hey, why are you doing this? Do you need a job? Like, are you looking for a job? Like, what can I do for you? You know? And that's when it naturally becomes something that's not just like this weird, like, get me a job. This is a strategy that I've used, and this is how I've talked about this in a previous video in my like one hack to get into esports video, which if it's on YouTube, it'll be linked somewhere in the notifications or those YouTube cards. I sent him a social video that I created. He never asked for it, and I'm like, hey, I made this. If you like it, you can use it. And then he's like, whoa, this is cool. And then I started making stuff, and then he started paying me. This is so important. This shows so much more effort than just asking for like, hey, can you hook me up with the job?
That I've ever hired for any kind of position, they've sent me a video first. And they said, here's what I can do. You can use this on your YouTube channel if you want. And I'm like, that's sick. And then I look at it, and I already have an example of it. I think that people really underestimate how much creativity goes in, like effort in an actual job posting goes in to making an outcome. And they assume that people aren't going to see it or aren't going to read it. But when I was hiring for the campaign manager job, I got this. I brought someone to interview immediately because she sent me this amazing like PowerPoint presentation with like pictures of her and like creative work she's done, like her like professional projects she's done with case studies, things like that. And I was like, dude, you got an interview because she took the time to customize it. And I think a lot of people.
That's why you can spend 40 hours or more.
Exactly.
Like, hunting for a job.
Because I think a lot of people, they just send a fucking blank, which is great. Like if you customize resumes like the ones that Ethan and I have told you to do on our YouTube channels, you're already ahead of the game. But I think a lot of people are afraid to put in that initial effort for no return, potential of no return. Oh, they're just going to throw out my app. Well, maybe, but you've got to put in that effort to stand out. Because if you want to be an anomaly, you got to act like one.
Okay, so this is so important, and this is actually something I'm struggling with. Like right now, I kind of want to get into Devin Nash's like lab, which is basically he has a whole bunch of creators in there that have a private chat. They talk about things and they figure out things for Devin Nash's content, because I want to be around these kind of people that are like really thinking and that are experts, and also they're paid. So I kind of want to make like just, you know, extra change on the side. Staying out for a house in LA is difficult. And I was thinking about this and I'm like, oh, you know what? I need to send him a video. I need to do what I did for Travis, because he doesn't have social media videos. And I'm like, okay, let me just make a 30-second video, and I know how to do these, and I can put these out like 3-hour time on the weekend. But I'm like, oh, you know, maybe he won't use it. And I'm like thinking about all these things, like why, like I'm in this exact mindset where like he might just never see it and throw it out, but I know he'll see it, especially if I email it to him, and I know I can do a good job. So then I don't know what's paralyzing me, but this thought that I might have lost value. But doing that for a targeted person, or like 5 targeted person, rather than doing 100 different resumes and spending the same amount of time putting all those, blasting those out, this is going to be so much more effective, and it works. It totally works. The reason why it doesn't work is because 1, you missed your shot and you're not good enough, or 2, like it just wasn't the right timing. So I think those are things like, this is such good advice. Okay. I want to skip to 17.
Nobody wants that self-image, right? I say this a lot on my stream. Everyone writes a narrative in their head where they're the hero. And it's hard to write your own hero narrative if someone asks you for something really simple in a polite way and you're like, no, f you. So they're like, could you take a few seconds and just glance at my resume and see if it's at all a fit for a design role at your company? Just yes or no. Well, who can't take the time to say yes or no, right? And so a lot of people will. Some won't. Some will ghost you. But generally, people will get back to you.
And someone asked, like,
yeah, right now they're talking about like how to like cold DM someone or talk to someone without it sounding like really inorganic. And honestly, it's just like having a conversation, and that's what they're talking about. Like when you ask for something very small, there's a good chance that if you say like, if someone actually sent me, hey, can you look at my video portfolio? I'm like looking for this kind of work, and I'm just curious like what your thoughts are because you hire for video editors. I'd be like, I might say no, or I could be like, yeah, just give me a second, and then I'm gonna find 5 minutes to look at it, 1 minute to look at it, an hour to look at it, right? And because I want to help, like, and you find those people that want to help, right? You find the right people to shoot your shot, and that is gonna make a difference. But yeah, these small asks, like that's a really good idea. If I ask like Travis at the beginning, like, hey, I'm trying to get into esports. Okay. If I'm like, hey, I'm trying to get into esports, how do I do this? That's wrong. If I say like, hey, Travis, I really want to do podcasts and interviews. I think I'm really good at it. Here's like one example of my work. If you have a tip on anything, or if you have like people, or if you have a video or resources that I could find that would help me be a better interviewer, like I'd love to hear any piece of advice, because I think you do and then fluff them up a little bit, like I think you're one of the best interviews in the League of Legends scene. You found success, so I'm trying to see like I think you would be a person that would be the best to ask this for, something like that.
How do you avoid coming off manipulative or opportunistic in these messages? So I would say, right, this is like kind of crazy, but like be an authentic person. In the sense that understand. Here's how I would describe it. Imagine that there are two bank accounts, okay, and there's like a certain amount of cash, let's say $100 that flows between each one, okay. View every time you ask somebody for something as a withdrawal from that bank account. Yep. Every time that you add value to it, you add a little bit to that bank account. So add a little bit of value, ask them a question, get them interested in something, tell them an interesting story, provide them something, give them some kind of content, give them an interesting article, something like that, right? Like literally we're kind of teaching you right now how to make a friend. But actually, yep, right? Like that's what we're thinking, right?
Okay. I don't have that much time left. I want to get to another point. This is a really important goal, and this is what people don't do. Like, if people did this to me, this is effective on me. I'll tell you that right now. If you're looking for a job, I think Golden Guardian's a fit, and we're hiring, you should hit me up like this. If you are trying to get a break into the industry, Golden Guardian's not hiring for a job, but you think I have some valuable input, like looking over a resume, because I've done those and I'm doing those, or if you're like, hey, I want to be social media, I have some marketing questions. Oh, what are your thoughts? Someone asked me, like actually a freelancer that I worked with asked me, hey, can I interview for the school project? I said, sure. That's a big ask, but I'm willing to do that. Like someone like Devin Nash, who's super busy, probably not. Me, I'm busy, but I'm probably willing to take the time to do those kind of things. Because first of all, I love podcasts and I love talking about esports. And second of all, like I genuinely want to help the scene, and those kind of things that like get me really excited. So this next thing I really want to go over is like what companies are thinking about when they're hiring, and this is like my mindset too. It's like it's so important.
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody. I want to be clear. Not everybody will ask you if you're looking.
I'm surprised by the number of people that do, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because good talent is hard to find.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a step back. No.
Yeah.
Here's a step back that people don't realize. I was just talking to somebody in my Discord about this earlier today. Bosses and corporations get viewed as like they don't want to hire anyone. They hate everyone. They have this. They're sitting on this huge pot of money, and their life is perfect, and their only goal in life is to give out the money to as few people as possible, and that includes hiring nobody.
Ethan's literally describing me to like the literal T. Oh my god.
Yeah, but you're the only one who's like this.
Yeah, it's true.
Because most
everyone's saying, Devin, fuck you guys.
most people in corporations, they're worried all the time. They're like worried about how are they going to keep their company running? How are they going to find better talent? How are they going to get all their work done? And who can help them with this? And so they're always scouting for, can I hire a better, like I'm going to tell you about something you've never even heard of. At Amazon, we have this concept called an opportunistic hire, where we actually don't have a job open or in mind. But when we run across incredible people, we interview them anyway, and we talk about, should we make an opportunistic hire, which
that's probably how I was hired, by the way. They were kind of looking for someone, but they didn't have a position for me. But because when I came on freelance, I was like, this is my goal. I know you're hiring for me to make memes,
but I want to be full time. So I'm gonna do everything I can where you're just like, holy crap, like Sam is able to do so much and he is making impact. Like we have to hire him. We have to turn him off full time. I was so like every day I was thinking like, how am I gonna do this? Right. So I do my video and I do another video. Or I do my video and do it like so well and then give extra input. Like, I think this would be better. I think this is actually the copy that we should put in. Like, here's some suggestions for copy for the tweet, even though that's not my responsibility, right? I went the extra mile and talked about things that they're like, whoa, like Sam knows actually a lot about social media marketing that like we might not have the understanding about. And then when I started coming into the office and doing more video edits, like they started giving me different videos to edit. I started doing live editing for like a draft for the NBA 2K that was happening live on Twitch and figuring out how to clip those as we go, download them, edit them into a template, and then like after the whole draft was done, like upload that in the next like 30 minutes. Like I started figuring out ways to become so valuable that they needed to bring me, like they needed me to do 40 hours of work. And they started asking me like, oh, can you come into the office like 3 days a week to do work? And then eventually at some point, like I sat down with them and I was like all prepared. I'm like, hey, you know what? I want to get hired. Like I just had everything in my head that like, this is what I can provide to you. This is what I could give to the company. This is why you need to hire me because I'm going to make things better and I'm worth the money. And I'm not going to bring negative. I'm going to bring the company positive value. Like this is how I was thinking and strategically approaching every single thing I was doing with Golden Guardians. Let's continue.
Literally means we don't know what the hell we'd have this person do, but we need them at the company because they are so strong that we want to add them and we will find work for them. They're clearly the kind of person who's going to deliver value. Let's bring them in and find them a job. And this is real. And what would cause any company to hire someone they didn't even know what they were going to do? It's because they know they're going to have something to do and they're looking for someone they believe can contribute at that level. So I just want to break this stereotype that managers are always like, or companies aren't hiring. Most companies that are not going bankrupt, which some of them are now, are constantly looking for the right talent that can move their company up another notch. And when they see that talent, they will buy it. They'll secure it. They look at it as I am securing talent that will make my company stronger. And even Devin, if he saw, I'm going to bet, if he saw someone that he believed could make Nerd Fusion much better, like, wow, I met this person and they're amazing.
I'd instantly hire him. Yep. I have the money to do it. I could do it. Yeah.
And let's talk about as proof. How did you end up at Nerd Fusion? Is that not basically what Matt did? He reached out and saw available talent because you had left CLG and he reached out and secured you. Right?
Yeah. There was no role that was open or that he was looking for.
He knew you and saw possibilities and reached out.
Yeah.
And so basically he went and bought talent and said, let's go figure out what your job will be. Like, I see how talented and passionate you are, and I know that you have a place here. Let's come in and we'll figure it out together. So now everybody else is like, oh, that sounds great. How do I get in it? The point I'm trying to make is companies want to hire. Everybody thinks companies don't want to hire. Like, all they do is say, no, resumes go into a black hole. That's true. They're not interested in hiring. Not at all true. They're desperate to hire. The thing is, they have two things in their head. I really want to hire talent. I'm really afraid I'm going to hire someone who's a mistake and I'm going to have to fire them. And that job.
That is so important. Friday, told a freelancer, hey, you're not the right fit for this project. That sucks, dude. They were so excited about the project. I hate doing that. Recently we had a editor being like, hey, you know what? We might stop doing this project, therefore you don't have any more work. And I hated it. And then eventually I was like, oh, hey, we got lucky. We can do it. Instead of 2 videos a week, we just need 1 video a week from you. So I'm sorry that it's going down, but this is what it is, right? So I started this is so important because first of all, I need you, if I'm hiring a video editor, which I do, I need you to make my life easier, not harder. And some video editors make my life harder, significantly harder. But most of that's on me. Because for the last video editor, I needed someone that could do narrative editing. And they did cinematic gameplay. And in my busyness and lack of time and carelessness and lack of attention to detail, I didn't realize they don't do narrative stuff. They also didn't speak English super well, and I needed them to do subtitling. So this was just like, oh wow, I have to hold your hand through a lot of things. I have to provide music for you. You need to give me the edit. Then I need to spend 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, whatever, doing additional edits. And it made my job and week really, really stressful because of that. And it, oh yeah, seriously, behind the play, that one is sad. And Manny, that was a good example of like, I needed to hold your hand a little bit because the project in itself was such a difficult project. It was out of scope. It was a really hard project. And I didn't have a clear enough understanding of what the project entailed to give you enough guidance and the right guidance to make it something that you could just succeed at with one revision, for example. The setup we had with our editors who are in Europe, that made it a lot harder, right? So you made my job so much easier, but it wasn't easy enough to continue doing that project, and it wasn't a successful enough project because the project itself, the idea was kind of flawed, and we had to figure that out by doing it. And I feel bad because it would be cool if that I was able to create that project good enough where that could be that could have continued to be a success, and therefore you'd have work from me and those editors would have work from me. But now both of you are out of those jobs, that work. And that I don't like that. That does not make me feel good. That makes me feel very bad. That makes me feel very bad. And luckily I have other projects that editors have been set up for success. Like I keep talking about the Peekaboo channel, YouTube channel. That is going strong. The editor is happy. He's getting actually like a lot of following, and he's gonna like get more work because of that. Like I'm so happy for that, and that's what I want. I want everyone I work with to be successful. I want to bring people up, not tear them down. I don't want to just use them. I don't want a video editor that just plops something on my lap and I don't have to worry about it. Like I don't have to think about it. I want to work collaboratively a bit, and then also like be valuable for that person, not just by money, with experience, money, exposure, all those things, but not just exposure. Money is involved, and I want them to have a successful career where they can continue doing more freelance work if that's what they want, or get their full-time job that they want. You know, I want to boost up Manny's resume where they're like, wow, Manny was able to do this and create this amazing viral piece of content. Like I want to hire him for FlyQuest, and then FlyQuest starts putting out crazy stuff, and I'm like, crap, Manny is too good, and now I got to make stuff better. Like I want that in the esports scene. But it's really scary because like sometimes they're duds and it sucks. Or sometimes I let my freelancers down or editors down or people that I hire down.
Sucks.
Yeah.
And I know Devin has had to lay people off. I think he's also had to fire them for performance. I've had to do the same. Sitting down across from someone and saying, look, I'm sorry. It's not working out. Today's going to be your last day at fill in the blank. And I'm going to need your keys and your laptop because you don't work here anymore. That's a terrible conversation. And you get, so managers.
It's also a massive feeling of personal failure too. That's like
correct.
The worst part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. You chose poorly. You've wrecked that person's life. Like they've bought a house and a car based on the fact they're going to have a salary and now they're not. And you have to find another person. So anyway, the point of this is managers live in this dual fear. On the one hand, they must hire in order to get the work done and grow. On the other hand, if they've ever been burnt by having to let someone go, they're terrified. And so they're living in this desperate need to hire, desperate fear of failure. And so just understand when you're talking to somebody about a job, they want to hire you, but they want proof that you're not the person they're going to have to fire. That's what they want. Now, they don't always get it, but that's what they want. They want low risk and high reward, which is the same thing you want in life, right? All the time, anything you do, you're thinking like, is this, I'm going to give my money to get a pizza. Is the pizza going to be worth more to me than the money? Or would I rather have more ramen noodles and more money? Like that's the same. It's the same.
It's a value judgment.
Yeah. And so you're trying to be the pizza, not the ramen noodles. You're trying to be more valuable so that you get the money. Like that's what you're trying to do when you seek a job, is show that you can be valuable and low risk.
Ethan, do you feel like putting in a lot of extra effort to a resume, which I would say is a strategy that I've identified 100% works with like a small company like us, or like we will really look at like a resume or something that's done uniquely. Do you feel that putting a lot of extra effort into a resume or into a presentation or cover letter or things like that makes a substantial difference in applying for companies that are larger?
All right, we talked about that already, and I kind of said exactly what they're saying. So I'm out of time now. I gotta get lunch with the wife. I'm already late. I'm posting a link in Discord or in Twitch It's a Discord. Create a new Discord. It's still very fresh. Not many people. Pancake, you are in there. You are amazing. Thank you so much if you're still here. But what I want to do is I want to build a community. And I'm probably going to like rebrand my whole YouTube channel and everything too. The current working title is Making Esports. I want this for people that are trying to make it into esports, people that are making esports happen, because I want really good people in here, and I want to make people's like, I got my dream to come true. I want your guys's like, I want you guys to be happy. I want you to find your joy, and I want you to find passion and love in your guys' careers. And honestly, I want to tell some of you that like, hey, you don't belong in esports, right? Because that'll make you happier once you start like finding the thing that's going to make you happy and that you're able to accomplish. But ultimately, I think it's really, really important during this grind to have people around you that is going to support you, help you, and grow you, right? So that's what this Discord channel is about. I think if you guys want more resume feedback, that's going to come in to this channel rather than Twitter DMs. And hopefully this will be also a way that we could all communicate easier and share articles, share job postings, all those kind of things. So that's what this is for. So please stop by the Discord and join it if you want to be a part of that. Play some music. I will give, if there's any questions from anyone in the stream, this is the time to ask them. You can chat. I'd love to hear your input even. Like, what did you guys think about that? What do you guys think about doing that kind of VOD review? I just really want to provide people value, and there are people that are talking about things that are so important and so good, and if people are missing it because they can't deal with someone's voice or their personality, or they're just missing it because they're not paying attention and they don't know where to look, like, I'm hoping that was actually good. Yeah, no problem, Manny. I'm so happy to take those resume reviews. Hopefully it was helpful. It wasn't discouraging, and if anything, it was just more helpful. And yeah, I don't want to just like bash on people and make them depressed. I want to create conviction and to give inspiration and to give helpful feedback into finding their joy in life ultimately, right? Again, any questions you guys want to talk about, I'll give a little bit of time. If chat is quiet and they're just good, I can just shut off the stream too. We're just winding down. I feel like I was in a rush all day today, which kind of sucks. I wish I could have relaxed a little bit more, taken my time on things. But hopefully it was still helpful. It'd be cool to get chat. Oh, another thing I want to talk about. I've been thinking about using Restream.io. I actually have it set up. And I was going to do it today, but I felt like I didn't. Well, actually, I did have enough prep time. But I want to test it before I actually do a full stream. So I want to restream to YouTube and Twitch, because Twitch has a huge problem where there's just no discoverability on here. And I was thinking like, YouTube actually has discoverability, and I'm trying to build a YouTube channel, right? So I've been thinking like, hey, I should stream to YouTube, but there's people on Twitch, and I'm conflicted on like, oh, you know, everyone's so used to using Twitch, but to be honest, everyone has YouTube. Everyone's on YouTube that's on Twitch anyway. So I feel like that would be good. I'm not partnered on Twitch or anything, so I can't even get like Twitch Prime subs and get that free money. But I want to grow my YouTube channel. I want to grow the community. I feel like YouTube might be a better spot. But before jumping off, I probably should just restream and go to both places. If anyone has experience with that, that'd be cool to talk to you about. Because I played around with it. I had it set up. I just haven't gone live. Man, Pancake's not back. I told him to come back and chat so I could flame him. Shame. He asked me about recommending him for Danon's job. Danon's our general manager for Golden Guardians. And I was going to say that I don't trust him one bit for it. Not that hard flame, though. Well, it looks like chat's pretty quiet. I think everyone's lurking. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Another TV viewer, probably a bot. Bill, thanks for stopping by. Bill the Conqueror, Commander Root, General Pancake, Larks, Not Corporal, and Y Rizzy. Thank you for chilling in chat with me. Thank you again for all the follows that we got since the last stream, which would be, let's just go through it. We got Son of Paint, Maxima Lily, The Garyan, Y Rizzy, Manster 415. Thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any feedback, hey, join that Discord channel. Give me feedback there. We can talk. Let me know what you guys need, because I honestly want to impact your guys' lives and provide value. Even if it's like, even if that means it gets 1 view on YouTube, I don't care. Like, I want to make an impact because everyone should live a good life. I live a good life. I love my life. So I just want other people to experience good life too, good living. All right. Thanks everyone so much for your time. Oh, I forgot to record the stream. I gotta download this afterwards. That sucks. Oh, I forgot to hit that record button. Either way, thank you guys so much for stopping by. I'll see you guys later. Bye.